Tonight's episode of Life of the Party is sponsored by Bisou Lovely, a jewellery company inspired by magical girls. They are about to release an amazing RPG jewellery collection with a Kickstarter that is opening really soon. Whether you're a mage, an archer, or a warrior, Bisou Lovely has necklaces and rings to subtly show off your favourite hobby, in a range of sizes, unisex variants, and even different colours. If you're as excited as we are, follow the link in the description for more about the collection and to sign up for alerts about the Kickstarter. Get ready to begin your adventure with Bisou Lovely. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show.
Hello and welcome to Life of the Party, The Rising Dawn. I'm your DM for this evening, Chase, on our current chapter, The Carnival of the Damned. Are we ready to begin?
Yes, please.
Let the adventure begin. We catch up with the Dawnbringers on the outskirts of the port city of Farrelstadt. After a tense but generally optimistic conversation with the Viscountess Balthazar, the party collected their reward for the capture of one Angelique Lemoyne, but with the current situation in Mirrortail finally laid out for them, it was clear they couldn't stay in the city for long. After a nostalgic and revealing stay in the Giggling Squid Tavern, the party enjoyed a day of shopping in Farrelstadt before being approached by a figure inviting them to the Flaming Tiger Carnival to deal with the bizarre undeath of one of their performers.
She's fine.
Don't know what they're complaining about.
Despite the odd request lingering over them, the party had a wonderful time at the attractions and performances that the carnival had to offer, beating the strong man in a so-called unbeatable test of strength, having their fortunes read, and watching an enchanting evening of entertainment before listening to the request of Ringmaster Ramin Zaray to stay with the carnival for a few days and figure out if some sort of infiltrator or imposter was hidden among their ranks causing problems. After trying to speak with the potentially undead performer yielded more questions than answers, the party took to their guest tent for the evening, where we find them now. Party. Astra, Sariel and Cassian are inside the tent, enjoying their taste testers of the alcohol you purchased in the city, while Vanden stands outside, having just witnessed the form of a large, spectral jellyfish-like creature float silently into the main tent of the carnival. What would you like to do?
I mean, you have just drank alcohol.
You were the only one who downed the blitzer.
Right. As it's slipping away, move my hunter's mark.
Yeah, you can do that.
Straight onto it, just sort of staring at it disappearing, just throw the magic forward, mark the creature? Spirit? And then sort of
apparition.
not taking my eyes off where it just disappeared, like step back, touch the flap of the tent.
Is everything alright?
I've just seen something very strange.
We are just a carnival.
No, I think I've just seen some sort of spirit or apparition.
Like a shadow?
We should investigate.
Okay. Which way?
Into the main tent.
Alright.
Let's go. Yeah.
It's easy enough to remember the way back round. You're basically on the outskirts of the main tent, so you can just follow the curve of it to the passageway.
I would like to search for it. Pursue that hunter's mark sensation.
Roll survival check at advantage then.
Go on, lad.
14?
14. Okay. You saw it go into the very top of the main tent, so you're able to go straight through the backstage passage and into the main tent where the stage area would be, because that's where the roof would lead you to. You look around, it's just completely empty. It feels a bit strange after being here earlier today, seeing so many people pouring in and out, all these odd performances, and it's just dark, quiet. Nothing seems to be amiss.
No signs of anything in here?
You can make a perception check, see if you notice anything bizarre.
Definitely.
What are we looking for?
It was like an apparition, sort of.
It was sort of almost glowing in a ghostly like way, not quite see-through, but the fact that it was able to just pass through a solid material leads you to think that maybe it's some sort of apparition or spirit-like thing.
I don't know how to describe this in a way that makes sense, but it was sort of semi-translucent and looked like some sort of creature.
Well, let's try and find it.
Yeah, anyone who's having a look, roll a perception check.
14.
14 as well.
11.
17 for Cassian. Say, between the four of you, you scour up and down this main tent area, being the last place that you have any idea it might be. You don't find anything.
I promise I did see it.
I believe you. I mean, if it went through the tent, it might be able to turn itself invisible or something.
True.
Possibly, and it's just going to be impossible to find.
Maybe it went out the other side of the tent, just passed through.
Maybe. If we're looking for something that could possibly possess someone or something like that, then there's a good chance that was it.
Yeah. Is there any commotion, like, from any of the tents outside?
Not that you can hear.
It's not causing any trouble, at least to anyone else at the moment.
Great.
It's something to keep in mind, though. And you can ask if anyone's seen one, like something like that.
Yeah. Okay, we might as well go back to bed.
Actually get some rest.
At least it's something to keep an eye out for.
I know we're in a safe place, but should we have someone on watch anyway, just in case it comes back?
Good idea.
I can take a watch.
Sure.
That sounds good.
Let's get some sleep then.
Yeah, just a little bit confused and rattled by just chasing doing a little bit of a wild goose chase. You just walk back over to the tent, and the three of you get settled in for the night, and Cassian sits up on watch.
Before he sleeps, Vanden will before he gets into the tent, cast an alarm around the outside of it.
Smart.
Like just outside the area where Cassian would sit and watch as well, and then go into bed.
The three of you settle in for the night. Cassian sits by the sort of edge of the tent, keeping a watch, and you all will get some nice sleep. More or less. Vanden.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, it's been a while.
You get jellyfished.
No.
Once you've drifted off to sleep for the night, your mind is filled with troubling flashes of images. Most of them don't make much sense to you. Blood splattering onto fresh snow, eyes dark, hollow, devoid of soul, the bright orange of autumn leaves floating in the wind. You turn restlessly in your bed as these strange flashes settle on one final vision. From afar, an armoured hand extends towards you, blood-stained and offering you to take it. As the image gets closer and closer to fill your view, the armour steadily falls off. Flesh sloughs from bone until only a skeleton remains, reminding you strangely of the death card you saw in your tarot reading. It groans as it pushes its hand towards your vision. You're now noticing that its hand is clasped tightly around some sort of amulet, but as soon as your eyes go to settle on the amulet, you wake up, chest heaving. Cassian instantly looks around from where he's on watch. Everything alright?
Yeah, just dreams again.
Again?
Lots of them recently, but they seem to get stranger every time.
Want to get some air?
Yeah, I can take over watch if you like.
Give it a while. I've got some salts to go through myself. Come on, get a breather.
I'll get out of bed, step out of the tent, just sort of like lean back on one of the tent struts, just...
He comes out and leans next to you.
There's fortunes, huh?
Tell me about it. You didn't seem too impressed at the time.
Somewhere between it feeling rather convoluted and also being things I didn't want to hear. People have told me my whole life that I work too hard. I'm better for hearing it.
I can understand that.
The way I always thought of it, if They're saying I work too hard, it's just because they don't want to work as hard and they're annoyed by it.
Hard work leads to lots of good things, but I suppose it's just nice to take a break now and then. Could really use a break from all of this, but it feels like there's always something that needs doing for the four of us.
It's why you left home, right?
For excitement.
Exactly.
This wasn't exactly the kind of excitement I was bargaining on Vanden, but
Then what were you hoping for?
I don't know.
What did you think you could find out here that you couldn't find back in Mirrodale?
Freedom?
You have that.
Choice?
You have that too. You don't have to partake in any of these and you know that.
Just kind of sulks in on himself a little bit. I suppose not, but I don't know. Hard to shake the thought of everyone gets told what they are today and I get told I'm rotten.
I think you understood what she said.
Unfortunately.
Sounded offensive on the surface, but deep down you got the metaphor.
Yes. Yes, I did.
What about the others? What did you think of their fortunes?
Astra's was strange.
Yeah, don't.
Some figure that's going to deceive him or has already deceived him. I don't know.
Can I tell you something?
Always.
When she read that out to Astra, I thought immediately of myself.
Now, that sounds ridiculous, but I'm sure you're going to explain it.
When you and Sariel removed the brands off my back, some of my memories returned. And over time, more and more of them have been coming back.
What kind of memories?
Things I'm not comfortable talking about. Things I almost wish that I hadn't remembered.
Things that frighten you?
I'm not afraid of the memories themselves. More that I'm not who I thought I was. Or who I tell everybody I am.
He moves around to take both your hands and just sort of looks at you for a minute, trying to judge what to say. If there's one thing I have learned from being with all of you, and definitely something that rang through with those cards earlier, we are all in a position now where we get to choose who we are, who we want to be. And actions of the past are scary, and they can make you feel incredibly guilty. I'm sure there's ways to deal with and atone for things, but I'd like to think what matters is who you are now. And you have proven yourself time and time again that you are incredibly reliable, trustworthy, and a good friend.
I'm inclined to agree, but I don't think you can choose who you're going to be in the future if you don't face who you used to be.
Probably not. But I suppose it's also how you choose to face that.
Go get some sleep.
You make sure you get some too.
I will.
Don't drive yourself mad getting lost in your thoughts. I know you don't want to talk about things, but let's just say I'm perfectly fine as well, Vanden.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we all are.
Good night.
Good night.
Gives you a little kiss on the cheek and goes inside.
For the first time in a while, his body language has been really, like, stiff and defensive the whole time. And he's gonna get the dregs of the wine and sit out here and drink the rest of it.
Oh, no.
Astra's wine money. Wasted away.
Gotta spend it somehow.
Sugar daddy.
Hell yeah.
Wine daddy.
Taking the title.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
You stay up, you have your drinks, everyone else gets a long rest easy enough.
Yes.
Sort of, not the most comfortable beds you've stayed in, but better than being on a ship. Better than some of the accommodation, and the sun rises, morning rolls around. You all wake.
Morning.
Astra sits up, and Bramble has slept on his head, so when he sits, it's just
Soft.
Hair full of bramble.
Everyone sleep well?
Yes.
Good.
There was no moving.
I
It's
always,
easy to land again.
I always found this way of the ship quite reassuring.
I don't know. I think I prefer just the stillness, and I suppose I'm just used to that.
Used to being grounded.
We've got, I imagine, a lot to do today, so we should get some breakfast and start talking to people. They said that Bryn, the halfling, knew everything about everyone. Maybe we should start there.
Good idea.
Almost on cue as you're discussing this, there's sort of like a knock at the tent, as if you hear someone outside going, knock knock.
Yes.
Morning.
Morning. Peeking through, you see Ramin making sure not to let his flaming hair singe your tent. Everybody sleep okay?
Yeah.
Figured I'd bring you guys over to where we like to have our breakfast for the morning, and you can start getting to know people.
That'd be great, thank you.
Before we go anywhere, we did see something strange last night.
His expression shifts to one that's suddenly a lot more serious. What kind of something?
Vanden will describe as best he can the jellyfish-like apparition above the tent and just ask, is that anything to do with the carnival?
He sort of scratches his head and is like, no, we've had some strange creatures here in our time, but I can't ever attest to seeing Tallulah handle a jellyfish.
Good to know.
I guess, I'll tell some of the others to keep an eye out for something weird like that, but...
And let us know if they've seen anything like that and just thought it was a dream.
No, don't actually. We'll ask people individually as we go.
Okay.
Because if
Word spreads.
there is an imposter and anyone has anything to hide,
I'll start telling you little lies. Good thinking. You guys want some breakfast?
that would be great.
Come on then. And he leads you back through the passageway of the main tent, and as opposed to going round, I suppose this way it would be to the left to where some of the performers sleep, he takes you around to the right side. And you walk into another wide open space. There's a number of tables set up, various performers sat around chatting with each other. Looks to be about half the size of the area you saw last night. There's a long red curtain kind of cutting through the middle of it, spanning the width. You take it all in, and Ramin points to each person and just makes sure that you know their names. You recognise quite a few people: Nefer, the Yuan-Ti, Lukash, the Leonin, Bryn Gibbs, the halfling, Nelson Kirby, the human merchant from outside, who still has Vanden's prize waiting for him. Semele Tasuli, the half-hobgoblin, who's now wearing a dirty apron over her clothes and seems to be serving breakfast to the others. The few that you haven't properly met yet, the satyr girl is Evie Amarante, the half-orc, half-triton, Kian O'Garvey, Milo Fraser, the half-elf bard. The elven dancers are Pyrrha, the drow, Maya, who he identifies as a wood elf. The dwarven beast tamer is, of course, Tallulah Dirk. The young furbolg man is Felix Westermark.
I'm sorry, can we... Tallulah Duck?
Dirk. D-I-R-K.
I'm personally so excited for Tallulah Duck.
I'm so sorry.
Tallulah Duck, the Beastmaster.
Dirk.
They missed a trick.
They're all dressed in slightly more casual clothes than the ostentatious costumes you saw them in last night. And Ramin sort of implies that you're free to go sit with whoever you like and have some breakfast. Just before he goes to grab his own bowl, he just snaps his fingers and goes, "Oh yeah, just so you don't think he's trespassing, there's a guy outside as well. A human man, late 40s, dirty blonde hair and a face like an old leather sack. Can't miss him. You might have seen him around last night. He's called Marcus Vetter. We hired him as a little extra security when we got to the city, given our current predicament. He shouldn't bother you. He's just doing his job and makes sure no one unwanted trespasses around the carnival."
And he came here after.
We hired him we set up the day before yesterday and we hired him around that time.
Okay.
Nelson deals with that sort of stuff, so you can always talk to him.
Sure, will do.
Vanden pulls out his mask.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. You can walk through. Ramin immediately goes to grab a meal and leave through his office. A few of the people are finishing up their breakfast as well. You can grab a table with Evie and Felix, who are sat together. Bryn is sat alone with a book. Maya and Pyrrha are whispering to themselves and kind of looking in your direction and giggling. Milo sat alone, like at the opposite end from everyone else. The others, Lukash, Tallulah, Kian, Nelson, Semele, and Nether, are like finishing off their meals and pretty much getting ready to go. But Semele will serve you up each a bowl of sautéed potatoes with a fried egg on the side.
Oh, hell yes.
Before she pushes out this hefty cart of bowls and food and starts heading out to the back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should we sit with Bryn?
Yes. What do we pay for this?
I believe this is included in they're accommodating us.
It's the package deal for helping them out.
Okay. Make our way over to Bryn.
Yeah. He's just sort of looks up from his book.
I hope you don't mind us sitting with you. We had some questions about the...
Oh, no, good morning. Hope you all slept well last night.
Fine. We were told you were the person to speak to learn a little bit about everyone.
Oh, yes. Well, you can either ask or I can just tell you the basic history of the carnival. We sort of picked everyone up along the way.
Let's
I'd like
start
to-
there.
Sure. Well, Ramin and I used to work for another carnival that did a circuit up between Erin and Marlborough. We sort of went up and down, but needless to say, we didn't quite agree with the management and had our own dream of starting our own carnival. So, while we were stopping in Erin one time, we hatched a plan to steal a wagon or two and find some interesting people to start setting out on the road. Around that time, we bumped into Semele, our quartermaster, and she insisted that if we were going to start something like this, we didn't want to just have dreamers on board. We wanted someone practical who knew how to cook and clean and everything. She was an easy choice. Lukash we found in a fighting pit. He had some debts that he didn't quite want to settle. They tried to get him to throw a fight on purpose and he was too proud to do so, he was in a bit of trouble. And the four of us stole those wagons and off we went.
And how long ago was that?
About 8 years now. We just started picking up people along our way. The twins, as they like to refer to themselves, Maya and Pyrrha, points over to the two elven girls. They were travelling towards Caerfen, apparently fleeing from bandits in Shadeborn. They grew up as orphans or something like that. Nether was being transported in this We found him in a cage.
In a cage?
Some strange men were just pulling him along in a solitary cage.
That's horrible.
And towards some sort of area in the Shaste, but he doesn't quite remember why or what he was being taken for. Just that he was happy to be out, and he's been a quiet one ever since, but it's really hard to get anything about his past out from him. Tallulah, interesting one, she was protecting the carnival's owlbear, who was sick at the time, from a bunch of townspeople who insisted that having a dangerous beast near their village was going to spread disaster, and she said, no, let me nurse this back to health. It'll be fine. And God knows how she managed it, but she did, and now her and Rosie have been lifelong friends.
Rosie. Oh, that's so cute.
Owlbears are right dangerous, but Rosie's a sweetheart, once you get to know her.
Oh, I thought she was lovely.
Cian we actually found here in Farrelstadt. He was a bit of a town rebel. Not sure if he's from here originally, but he wanted a more constructive way to deal with his destructive tendencies. So we trained him up in what we thought he'd be good at, and now he's an expert at throwing those knives. You see how much Evie trusts him?
It's terrifying.
Right. My heart goes every time.
I bruised your arm, didn't I?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And where did she come from, Evie?
Oh, Evie's from Erin originally, but we found her in the Shaste. She was sort of off doing a little adventure of her own, but I think she may have taken a fancy to someone here, and her decision to stay with us was rather last minute before we left town.
Okay.
But she's been a good girl. She's very, very lovely. And you can see her on one of the other tables just chatting really animatedly away to this grey furbolg man who's nodding and smiling through mouthfuls of potatoes. It's funny, around that time as well is when we met Nelson. He kind of handles the business side of things. I'm sure you met him at the ticket booth last night.
Yes.
He's basically our accountant. Someone has to count the money and be trusted with that sort of thing. He handles the raffle prizes, collects little oddities, potions and jewellery that we can give away as prizes. I think maybe we'll be able to give you some of those as a little thank you for helping out.
Thank you.
It's not necessary, but
No.
Good to give you something. Like, we don't make that much money, but
But you've given us food, and you've given us a place to stay.
I'd feel bad if we didn't give you
let's see if we can help you first. Okay?
Sure. Of course, but you still need something for your trouble, even if you can't.
You can let us watch the show again tonight.
Oh, that's no problem. You can come see that anyway. We'll get you. We've got a private booth for the performers. We'll just set you up there.
Yes, please.
This halfling man is so happy with how happy you are. Like, now that you see him closer up, he looks to be kind of in his late 40s, early 50s. He's just full of smiles. And he's, even though everyone else is kind of dulled down, he is still wearing his brightly coloured, like jaunty hat and everything. Like, he truly lives for the drama of it all.
I am doing this for the drama.
Later in Lakeside is when we met Ramona. Bit of a strange one. She just sort of rolled up one day, said, I'm joining your carnival. It is in the cards. And we went, okay. If you make us a little bit of money with it, we're happy with that. And she's been great for sales.
Where is she today?
Oh, she might be out back in her caravan. She tends to stick to herself a little bit. Usually her and Nathaire just kind of chat away as the quiet ones of the bunch.
Good to know. We'll probably talk to her later.
Yes.
Then, poor Florence joined us about 6 months ago. She seemed to be running from Black Wharf up in Marlborough, though she never really went into details and we're not really ones to pry. She just said that she had trouble with a master and that she didn't want to be chased. And We deal with that sort of thing all the time. Not everyone stays with us, but sometimes we'll take people for a few towns just so that they can get away.
Is she one of your most recent hires?
Yes.
And presumably then if she was running, maybe she has enemies.
Yeah.
And someone finally caught up with her.
That's something that I might be a bit worried about. I'm scared that she's been pursued this entire time and we've just not noticed until now.
So has nothing else happened before this? No trouble with her?
No trouble with her.
What does she do?
She's a contortionist. She's always been very flexible, she said, but she started working really, really hard on it when she joined up with us. She was determined to make her keep.
And who would you say that she's closest to here?
I mean, everyone's quite close with Evie. She's very chatty. I know that Sariel likes to act like she doesn't care about people, but she really treats this as a family. At her heart. Felix was also fairly new. We only picked him up about 2 months ago. And he's been very, very friendly, but some of the older members aren't really sure about him.
Why not?
They say that his backstory is unconvincing. He just wanted to join the circus. He apparently had seen our show when he was a bit younger, when last time we passed through the Shaste, and absolutely enchanted. When we came through town again, he just dropped everything to come join us. People, well, the twins think that's a bit of a loose argument.
Oh, I can understand that. If they didn't have something already going on, I might do the same.
Is he the newest member?
Felix, yes, and between him and Florence we had Milo joining us when we were... We don't stop at Fang, but we do pass nearby sometimes. He was fleeing towards the Tel Crossing. Apparently he'd caused a little bit of a stir up there, singing some less than savoury songs about the Baron.
Oh dear.
And
Astra full on giggles about that.
he was worried that he might get killed or something, so...
It's understandable, the Baron's a bit of a fucker.
So I've heard.
Yes.
That's why we never stop there. Yes. So our most recent hires would be Florence, Milo and Felix.
And what's Felix and Milo's relationship with Florence like?
Milo doesn't really talk to anyone. He seems a bit, speaking politely, he can be a bit arrogant.
Okay.
Bit of a loner. Not in the way that Nether is, where he's just quiet and likes to talk with other quiet people. Milo's just kind of eyes him in the corner, and this half-elf is literally like kicked back on a chair, just sort of looking at everyone like, and then going back to looking at his own stuff.
Not quite the glamorous life maybe he was expecting.
Perhaps not. Or maybe he just thinks he's above it all.
Has anyone been acting differently recently? Or getting closer with Florence where they weren't before? Or being too overly familiar or anything like that?
Not that I've noticed. Problem is that Raman and I are usually busy trying to sort everything out, deciding what order the acts go in, who's performing, and we have to deal with stuff with Nelson and Samele, making sure we've got enough food and enough money for the road. And I feel awful thinking that perhaps I've neglected taking care of people as of late.
You've got a lot on your plate.
Yes. It's been stressful these past 2 weeks particularly. But I'd just ask around and see if anyone else has noticed anything strange.
We will.
Kian seems right pissed off with Lukash at the moment, but he's always had a temper on him, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Okay, well, we can go around and talk to people.
Right. Thank you very much for the insight, Bryn.
It's okay. Oh, one last thing. We've got a few random stagehands who work for us. I don't want to say they're not really important, but they kind of keep to themselves. Right before we got to the city, one of them just disappeared.
Overnight? Just after a show?
I can't really say when they went missing. It was just one day they were there and the next day they weren't.
Okay.
And did the others have any idea as to what happened?
I don't seem to notice.
Was that before or after Florence?
This was right before we got to Falstad.
Right.
And these people Why did you hide them? How long had you had them for?
Sometimes they're just people that we pick up on the road. People who want to get away from something and they figure that they need to stay in their keep for a little while. I wouldn't be too surprised if it was just someone who felt like their time here was done. But usually we get a thank you and a goodbye, and no one's said anything like that.
Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
It's alright.
I suppose then one last thing, and then we'll describe the jellyfish.
He looks boggled. I mean, normally I'd suggest that might be some sort of illusion or hallucination, but I'm the only one around here that can do that sort of thing. I've got no bloody idea, I'm afraid.
Insight check.
Yep.
Roll an insight check.
8.
10.
Damn it.
You don't know this guy well enough. He seems very friendly and forthright with you. He's been very cooperative up until this point. You don't have any reason to distrust what he says.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Yep.
Astra refuses to roll insight on the nice halfling man.
It's because Icarus rolls all the insight checks.
Icarus is my no trust boy.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Bryn.
It's alright. If you need any help, I'll probably be around, so just give me a shout.
We'll come find you.
Sure thing.
Of course. Enjoy your breakfast, but in about half an hour or so, they're going to start hauling this place over. It becomes like a little practice area during the day.
Okay, sure.
You have the day ahead of you to start questioning a few people.
So what are our thoughts?
I think we should speak to Evie.
Yes.
She was the one who saw this shadowy thing.
And she seems to know everyone else quite well.
Evie is actually kind of looking at you guys from where she sat with Felix. A little bit.
I'm gonna lift my hand and wave and just beckon, like.
She grabs her bowl and comes over. She has like a little skip in her dough legs. Now that you see her closer, she doesn't have like dough ears, but she does have sort of longer, rounded tipped ears.
Oh my god.
And she's got two little nubby horns coming out of her forehead.
I fucking love Sayers.
Most prominent feature about her, again, she's got this lovely warm dark skin with these white ink tattoos just all up her arms and shoulders. She's wearing a little sort of vest top dress, and she kind of sways as she comes and sits to you. It's
So
like,
cute.
hi.
Hello.
You must be the people that Nether brought in. That's so exciting.
We've been told that we can speak to you about this as well.
I'm Evie. What are your names?
I'm Vanden Astra.
Vanden Astra.
Vanden.
Vanden.
Sariel.
Sariel. Cassian.
And this is Bramble. He's nice. He wants to meet you too.
Oh my god, he's so cute. Oh, he'd fit right in around here.
Bramble will float and go and sit on her head. Like, yes.
Careful, keep saying things like that. We might lose Astra.
I think you fit right in here.
You are very colourful. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you.
I like your horns.
Thank you. I got them decorated here in Farrestad.
Wow, they can do that here? Oh. I should see about getting mine done before we leave.
Cute. What the fuck?
So you were the last one to see Florence before whatever happened, and we were told you saw some sort of shadowy thing.
Yeah, it was really scary. It all happened kind of quickly, but I don't know if anyone told you. We were having a bit of a party while we were out on the road, and Florence went to bed early, so I thought I would go and check on her to see if she was like upset or anything, because that didn't really seem like her. And as I was walking up to her tent, I could see her silhouette in the light, but I could also see, she kind of gulps as she's remembering it, and she's obviously like very frightened of this memory. It was like a tall, it kind of looked like a person, but it had maybe wings, and I don't know if it had like a weird head or maybe horns. And as soon as I saw it, I screamed, and it sort of stepped back, and as it did, it just, whatever it was, went back to looking like a regular person shape. But I just ran to go get help because
When you say tall, how much larger than a regular person?
Maybe around your friend's height? Points to Astra.
Okay.
And you say wings, were they like bird wings or bat wings or dragon wings or?
Hard to tell when it's just silhouettes, but I guess they weren't like soft like bird wings. They didn't have like the curves. I don't know, sorry, it all happened really quickly. And by the time I got back with people, whatever it was gone, and Florence, she looked dead.
When you saw the silhouettes, were they saying anything?
I really couldn't tell. I was just kind of walking up, and as soon as I noticed it, I screamed before I could overhear anything. I got scared.
That's okay.
How long between you running to fetch people and returning?
Maybe like 5 minutes or so,
Okay.
maximum. I just had to run around the back passage, and it took me a while to get out what I was trying to say because I was crying, but it wasn't that long.
And then when you came back into the tent, was there any weird smells or smoke or?
No weird smells. Maybe a pair of footprints in the sand, but as soon as more people came in, it just got lost.
Okay. I'm thinking back on Chloe and Cassian, and of something that can just simply look like a person.
Something that can just change its shape.
But then it's hard to tell what shape it's chosen.
So have either of you noticed anyone around here acting strangely recently? Or even just a slight change in disposition?
It's hard to say because ever since this happened, everyone's been more on edge since normal. The only thing I'm kind of worried about, and I was going to ask you guys about this anyway, actually. She kind of looks around and checks to see if people are still here. Bryn has left, Milo has left, and it's only really Felix and the two girls who are still in the room. She sort of makes you all shuffle down to the far side of the table away from anyone. So, Kian and I kind of have a thing going on.
Sure.
We've been together quietly for a while, but he's been acting really weird and avoiding me lately, and I don't want to seem suspicious of him because I trust him. Of course I trust him. He's my Kian, and we do that whole act together, but he's not been acting like the person I know, and that scares me.
And I hate to ask this, nothing's happened between the two of you that can instigate him
No.
simply acting strange.
Everything's been fine, and then all of a sudden he's been acting super pissed, or not at me, but in general, and
Is this since Florence or later than that?
since Florence.
Bryn told us that he was angry at Lukash about something.
The two of them have this stupid rivalry where Lukash always says that he's the strongest, and Kian thinks that he can beat him. And he never does, but he keeps trying, and usually it's just friendly roughhousing between boys, you know. But I don't know, maybe it's turned sour in the wake of all of this, and I just worry about him, you know.
Is there anything else that you've noticed at all? Is there anyone you know who was closest with Florence? Apart from the, more close with Florence than anyone else?
Not that I can think of. Most of the time we're pretty tight-knit, aside from a few people who stay in pairs or something like that. We're generally just one big family. I know that she's always been a little bit quiet and introverted, so I always tried to kind of cozy up to her. She never really liked talking about where she came from, she liked to talk about optimistic stuff, like where we would go next and places we could visit along the way, just enjoying the journey of it all.
So she didn't tell you any more about Black Wolf or this master that she came from?
No.
Okay.
Did she ever act like anyone was following her? Was she always looking over her shoulder? Or wanting to move on from places faster than anyone else?
She never hurried us anywhere. I feel like we found her in Riven and we've been going west ever since, so really we're going away from Black Wharf, so she must be pretty happy with that. Now that you mention it, maybe every now and then she was acting a little bit skittish when we got to bigger cities, but she never said that she thought she was being followed.
Okay.
Well, that definitely seems like the behaviour of someone who thinks they might be being followed. Okay, well, thank you, Evie.
That's okay. If you need anything else, just ask him. Please talk to Kian for me.
We will.
Thank you.
And one last thing. It's jellyfish description time.
What?
You know, it could be nothing. It just...
You did also see something change from a shadow into a different shape shadow, so maybe it's the same thing.
Maybe, but it didn't look like a jellyfish.
It's hard to describe. Insight check anyway.
Sure. Insight check.
God damn it!
Natural 20. 26.
You say spectral jellyfish thing, and you have blown this poor girl's mind.
I'm so sorry. That will leave you to the rest of your breakfast and get on with your day now.
Should I be worried about this?
No, if you can keep it to yourself though, we're trying to just make sure that rumours aren't getting spread.
Okay, I'm good at keeping secrets, so...
Thank you.
But if anyone tells you anything strange or
You see or hear anything?
mentions anything strange about our presence, please let us know. Because
Okay,
we're looking for any hint that someone is an imposter or posing as one of your friends.
okay. Sure.
Great.
I will make sure to keep my ears, like, close to the ground for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's alright.
Fran will give her a little kiss on the cheek and then fly back over to Astra.
She seems very happy with that.
Should we head on then?
Yeah.
Maybe as we're walking away, should we go talk to that kin?
Yeah, what do we think about what she said?
How so?
Just the thing that's sticking out to me most is that Florence was obviously running away from
Something or something.
Something in Black Dwarf.
who wanted to hurt her or something that she did.
Mm-hmm.
If she didn't want to speak about it, it could be either.
What do we know about Black Wolf
It's the largest city in
in Marlborough?
the Marlborough region. It's basically the seat of Marlborough. It's, as I understand it, quite an open city. They don't have any troubles there that I've heard of.
I suppose it's not your jurisdiction though, is it?
No. But
I mean, it might not be anything to do with the city itself, perhaps.
simply a person there.
individuals.
A
within
personal thing, something behind closed doors.
I don't think it's likely it's anything to do with Black Wolf itself, more just whoever this master character is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that said, I wondered whether it was like a ruler or a noble there or something.
Should have asked him. Did we ask already if Florence had any kind of magic?
I don't think that we have asked
I
that.
don't think we have.
No, but people at the carnival have said that only, aside from people who have like natural racial magic, Bryn is really the only
Yeah,
caster
okay.
amongst them.
When I hear master, I think some sort of teacher or someone Florence was an apprentice to.
Or an owner.
Maybe.
I mean, did she have any marks of chains on her when you looked over her?
Did she? Not that I saw.
But it has been a long time. Well, like 6 months. We should speak to this key in person.
Yes, I think we're getting lots of answers, but also it's just opening up more questions, so we just need to keep asking them. Let's go find Keenan.
You head back through the backstage passage, and as you're passing by the main tent, you do hear the sounds of an argument.
Oh, stop and listen.
Yeah, you couldn't. It's not hard to miss Keenan's accent
Okay.
as one of them. If you peek through, you can see Keenan and Lukash on the stage, locked, arms on each shoulder, like each trying to throw each other out of the ring of the stage. It doesn't look like this is a fight that's breaking out. It looks like perhaps it's sparring that's turned sour. And you can hear them just yelling at each other. And Keenan says, "You don't just get to talk to me like that!" Lukash goes, "What's gotten into you? What's gotten into you? You used to be my friend." Lukash digs his hands into Keenan and just tosses him out into the sand. "It's not my fault you can't beat me, Keenan. It wasn't what I said. But we both know that's what this is really about. Get your act together, kid." And he dusts his hands off, starts walking out the tent towards you guys, sort of regards you and pushes past, goes out back. Keenan's just sat on his ass, in trousers, shoeless, shirtless again, just head in his hand.
Just go straight into the tent.
Mm-hmm. Go offer him a hand to help him up.
Thank you.
What was that about?
I'm going to pull, as we're walking up to him, I'm going to pull out a copper piece and just fiddling it within my hand, I'm going to cast Detect Thoughts.
Ooh.
Okay. So you get surface level thoughts to
Surface
start
level
with?
thoughts, and like as questions are asked, like Sariel just asks, like anything that comes to his mind, I'll know.
Instantly you get like the emotion of anger and frustration. He's just thinking to himself like, what is that guy's problem?
Okay.
And that's sort of the general
Surface
thing
level.
that is going around surface level. You can choose to pry further if you'd like.
Not yet.
Okay. How long does that last?
A minute.
Okay.
And he'll only know if I pry deeper.
Yeah. He stands up and he's just like, we spar like that often, but he's never been that aggressive with me before. It's usually fun, you know, it's a little bit of fighting out on the road, but he keeps calling me kid and runt as of late. I'm sick of it.
How long for?
He's been about a month or so. He's been not quite acting himself. I think maybe he's stressed out with everything going on. He's just been a bit more aggressive, but
Since what happened to Florence?
everyone's been like that. It's a shitty time. So I was looking quite defensive. And
And what about you?
what about me?
Well, how have you been faring since everything's gone on?
Not fucking great. I've just landed flat on my arse.
I just meant in general, over the last month.
How are you feeling about what happened to Florence?
It's weird. I don't really get it. They ask me to stand guard out there sometimes, but nothing really happens. Wasn't particularly close with her or anything. Not that I don't like her. She's just new, and I've got other things going on. Most of the time, they trust the stronger ones like us to keep watch outside. Usually Nelson's outside the tent making sure the ticket booth's alright for the evening, and me and Lukash will patrol the area, but we've got that guard Marcus doing it right now. It's just a real rough time.
I'm sure, and I'm sorry to hear that.
It's alright.
Look, you know we're here to ask questions. Try and get to the bottom of this.
The main stuff I've noticed is, obviously, my friend's been acting like a real shithead as of late. I've always known him to be good with kids, and just a real nice lad, and all of a sudden all he's interested in is bringing women back to his caravan and taking more food than he should. But
You'd say then his personality's just flipped?
not flipped, he's just, I don't know, he's always been proud and it's like it's been dialed up all of a sudden.
Okay.
He scratches his head and tries to think.
What does he think?
He thinks what he's about to say to you. I heard that Tallulah's been having a bit of trouble with some of the animals as of late.
Oh,
One of them got sick a week or so ago, but she would know more about that than I did. She's just been kind of grumpy about it ever since.
Okay. Look, I will cut to the chase here. Evie told us about the two of you.
Looks a bit taken aback. Did she now?
thoughts.
He's a bit like, who are you people to come in here and ask me about my relationship?
Passing no judgment, and we're not going to tell anybody else. She just said you've been a bit absent recently.
What's it to you?
Well, we're here to look up anyone who's acting strange.
Right. Well, how am I supposed to know I can trust you with private information like that?
Oh, Evie trusted us.
Bless her heart, she trusts anyone.
Because if it's about your private relationship, then it doesn't matter to us.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. Come on. Dirty 20.
Okay. He stops and considers for a while and kind of mulls it over. And Astra, you can sort of hear the internal monologue of, well, I suppose I should tell these guys if they are starting to suspect me of something nefarious. He sort of chews his lip and goes, before all this happened, I was going to ask her to marry me. Got a ring and everything up in the chaste. And then it just... I was going to do it at the party we were having. She disappeared and she comes back screaming. Suddenly it seems like it's not quite the time for it anymore.
That's not her fault.
No, but... to be honest with you, I'm nervous that if I spend too much time around her, I'm just gonna blurt it out. And it won't be right, and we'll have to remember getting engaged in the middle of all of this.
Maybe it'll give her something to hold on to when she's upset.
Maybe, but... I don't know, I'm not really good at this sort of thing.
Well, at the moment she's upset that you're spending time away from her. That's not going to do any good, is it?
Probably not. Cassian's like, you should probably go talk to her and tell her how you're feeling. And he kind of kicks up some dirt and feels it between his toes. Taps his foot. Give it a couple of days. See how you fare with all of this sleuthing. Maybe before we leave the city, I'll take her out into town and we can have some time to ourselves.
Plan a day of it. Make it something she'll really remember.
Yeah, before we pack up and head off to the next place.
She seemed interested in getting her horns like mine. You can do that in Farstad. Maybe suggest it to her.
Why? Whereabouts?
Down in the docks there's a place. I will describe exactly where.
Market stall outside the Giggling Squid.
He's taking mental notes. You can hear the mental notes being taken.
I'm best pleased.
Right type, please.
Out of interest, where are you supposed to be heading after this?
Normally, after we come this way, we go back up. So, we come down from Revan, we do the south side of the chaste. And then coming up from Farrelstadt, we do round the north side of the chaste.
Okay.
And then go back up towards the Rithern area. I've heard that apparently Ramon's talking about doing some sort of different route this time, but I don't really know.
Do you know why?
Maybe it's just to spice things up. They've been doing the same route for like 8 years now.
I'll see some new things.
Yeah, I'm sure they get bored of stuff.
Right, well, thank you for your help.
It's okay.
And as for Lukash, try not to aggravate him for now. We'll try and get to the bottom of it.
Sure. Just... if he's any trouble, don't take shit from him.
Oh, don't worry, I beat him in an arm wrestling match anyway.
Did you now?
Yes.
Well, good point for me. Green is lucky. What was your name?
Verdant Astra.
Nice to meet you, Verdant Astra. Keno Garvey.
It's nice to meet you too.
You have a good day.
Thank you for your help. Oh, and before we go, Vanden will describe the jellyfish.
Right. Is that something I should be on the lookout for then?
It's just, if you've seen anything like that before.
No, can't say that I have.
Insight check.
Insight check.
What's his thoughts, precious?
His thoughts are just
19.
like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Natural 20, 25.
Again, yeah, you don't know this guy, but Vanden seemed to kind of win him round in that conversation. He's admitted something very personal to you. He has no reason to hide this.
Cool.
Once you finish talking to him, he sort of goes back up onto the stage and just starts essentially doing yoga stretches, like trying to calm himself down, it looks like.
Get zen, buddy.
Get zen. And you can head off to wherever you want to head off.
Stop outside the tent again.
And Cassian sort of shrugs and was like, well, that was romantically touching, but...
All of his thoughts were very honest. He was telling us the truth.
What?
Oh, I
Are
was...
you reading people's thoughts, Astra?
Yes.
I didn't know you could do that.
Okay.
Well, I tried it a while back with Boblin, but I couldn't quite get to grips with it. But yes, I just tried it then, and I could read all of his surface level thoughts. So everything he was saying, he was pretty honest about. I just thought it'd be useful for this situation. You ask questions, and their thoughts change because they're thinking about what they're saying.
It's a useful skill. Promise me you'll never use that on any of us.
Well, of course not. Why would I? I trust you.
Okay.
You have my word.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I don't think he has anything to do with it.
No.
I think we can strike him off the list.
We should be keeping a list of all of these names. There's quite a lot of colourful characters around.
Then we'll dig out some parchment and just scribble down a handful of notes.
I don't think him or his girlfriend have anything to do with this.
No.
So who looks suspicious right now? Lukash's personality has changed as of late.
Then there's Milo, who's fleeing from Fang by the sound of it. Felix, who arrived 2 months ago.
I want to find out about this animal that was sick as well. If something happened to one of the performers and then one of the animals came sick too. It might be related, it might not be, but it's worth looking into.
Sure. I need to figure out where they keep them. Maybe on the other side of that partition in the other area.
True.
Because they certainly haven't been anywhere else inside.
Should we just take a wander into the middle of the, like, they said people will be practicing in the breakfast area?
The performers area.
Yeah.
You wander back round and not much has changed apart from the fact that all the tables are just sort of pushed to the side and the chairs. And there's a few like rings set up with balancing beams, just juggling balls and all sorts of stuff. People can practice like basic tricks. It seems like whoever's doing something big will probably be in the main tent. Other people are here. The only people you still see around are the same people who were here earlier. Felix, the Furbolg, is very intently trying to practice some juggling, like focusing on it, but he keeps dropping one of the balls and sort of picking it up and trying again. And then the twins, as they were referred to, the Drow and the Wood Elf, Maya and Pyrrha, on a balancing beam and trying to see if they can do lifts with each other while on the balancing beam.
Felix first?
Okay.
You don't really want to interrupt them. Make our way over to Felix the Furbolg.
Felix the Furbolg.
If there's anyone you want me to listen in on in particular, let me know.
This one.
Okay. Copper coin, flicks it, it evaporates into detect thoughts.
Okay. he's thinking very hard about juggling right now.
He is
Thoughts
concentrating.
just like juggle.
Oh, he is concentrating right now.
And he sees you come in and he sort of tries to catch all the balls to gather them up, but of course one of them slips out of his hand and he just... Hello!
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, you the people Nathaire called in?
Yeah, we've got some.
Version to Astra.
Felix Westermark.
Vanden.
Sariel,
Cassian.
got some questions for you.
Sure. He puts the balls down and sort of fiddles with his hands a bit. He's quite a bit taller than all of you, very lanky, just simple brown clothes and his long brown hair, which he was wearing up in a bun, but is now just sort of drifting all the way down about his face.
So, you're the newest member of the carnival?
Yes. I heard that the Flaming Tiger Carnival was coming back through the chase, and I thought, I'm not going to miss that opportunity. I'd love to perform with these guys. It just seems like a really nice time. Everyone's a little family together, and it's just good. It's fulfilling, you know.
Surface level thoughts.
This is what his passion is about. This boy was born to join the circus.
I'm gonna just give a look towards the others and just, seems like you're really made for this place, huh?
That's what I'd like to think, yeah.
So you saw it as a child?
When I was a bit younger, yeah, they went through a couple of years ago that I remember spotting the performance, and I just thought it was great. No, you didn't see him last night. Ramon's performing tonight. I won't spoil it for you, but you guys are in for a real spectacle.
I can't wait.
Cassian's like, hooray! But is there anything about this current situation that you can tell us? Felix is sort of... I don't really know. I've only been here a couple of months. I sort of had a couple of weeks of normality, and then everything went a bit weird.
Has anyone's personality changed dramatically that you would notice?
Being honest with you, I don't really know these people all that well. And some of them, he sort of glances over at the twins who are looking in your direction, and as soon as they see you all looking, just sort of and then back to themselves. It's like some of them kind of stick to themselves, and I don't want to say that people are mean or uninviting, but in his mind he's just like, the twins are really mean sometimes.
Oh, I'm going to turn and look at them, and because it's not been a minute yet, I'm going to flick detect thoughts over to one of them.
Which one, Maya or Pyrrha?
Maya.
Maya? Maya's just like, oh my god, Pyrrha, not again. Pyrrha's just like, oh. But she's really cute though.
I can't hear this, I don't know what's going on.
So you just see Astra looking at the Furbolg and then looking over towards the twins, and then looking towards the other twin, then...
Never mind all that.
Just not again.
Not again.
Is there anyone... Seems like an unfortunate question to ask. Is there anyone that you trust less?
Flick back.
I mean, I don't have any reason not to trust anyone here. Some people think Nathaire's a bit of a weirdo, but I reckon he's a pretty good guy. I've not really seen him acting strange or anything. He just likes to... He likes his art and he likes to practice, and he asked you guys to come here, so why would I find him weird?
He just sticks to himself.
Yeah. But... I don't like to speak ill of people, you have to understand, but...
Does he or doesn't he? Like...
He doesn't.
Okay.
This is quite a sweet guy. The guard that they've got outside, Marcus, he gives me a really bad vibe.
Okay.
In what way?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you've had the pleasure of meeting him yet.
Not yet.
He speaks in a very hushed voice. He smells really bad. Really, really bad.
What kind of bad?
Oh, I can't even describe it. It's like horrible socks. You know, when like your sock is damp and stinky, it's awful. And Like, I get why we need extra security right now, but I don't know, it just makes me uncomfortable.
Do you know where they found him?
Well, Nelson deals with that. I think he just went into the... So we got here 2 days ago, and we started setting up, and Nelson just went into the city looking for bodyguards or mercenaries. I think he interviewed a couple people, and Marcus was the one he came back with. But I don't know, it's just a bit weird that one of the backstage people went missing recently, and no one else seemed to notice at the time, but I did. They smelled really weird too.
Okay.
And then just, they were gone all of a sudden. It's not the exact same smell, but I don't know. It's just weird. Weird coincidence.
Thank you. Something to keep note of.
It's alright. You look like you're sort of wandering around a bit aimlessly. Do you need directions to anything?
The animals?
Oh, they're literally just through these curtains back here, and he points to the partition.
Great.
Thank you.
It's alright.
And
Jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
you know the drill. I ask about the jellyfish.
Jellyfish. Again, you just get a very shocked expression. You can roll your insight check.
What's his
Dirty
thought
20.
about the jellyfish?
It's just like... Again, the sort of general shock of, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I'm getting the gist of this, but someone's gonna have a different expression, so... Doesn't know. Give him the whole spiel. Please don't tell anyone what we've talked about. Come to us if anyone says something weird about us.
Okay. Aye aye. Roger gives you a little firm salute.
Thank you.
See you around.
We'll just like separate ourselves like 20 feet away so we can talk.
Yeah.
You do still see the drow and the wood elf kind of glancing in your direction and then having a little giggle between
What is
themselves.
their problem?
Which one's the one with the crush on?
The drow, Pyrrha.
What is their problem?
Oh, Pyrrha's got a crush on Sariel.
What?
What?
Well, from what I could, when we had the conversation I glanced over and they were saying, well, she's cute though, isn't she? So
Right.
I think they've got a bit of a thing for you.
Oh.
And they're right, you know?
Yes. I mean, they have eyes.
Exactly.
Anyway,
There's this guard outside, the one that was hired.
well, I mean, I don't want to generalise, but again, with Chloe in Cassian, people
She had greasy hair.
bad hygiene.
But it is Ferrelstadt.
It's true, they did pick him up in Farrelstadt.
But if somebody smelled like that in the camp before and then they disappeared and then a new
And then a
person...
new person came, and we're
Who
looking for
smells
someone
bad?
who could most likely disguise themselves.
It would reason, perhaps.
Mm.
Again, I don't want to generalise because sometimes you just don't have the energy for that sort of thing. But
Odd people can't control their body odour.
No, but it's worth speaking to Nelson about it because if Nelson went and hired this person
Then he might have noticed something.
and jumping to the worst possible conclusion, say that it was our security guard outside with the bad vibe, and Nelson went and chose this person specifically, there's a chance he knows something.
Precisely.
Should we check?
The animals while we're here.
Yes.
Precisely. Let's just walk through. Okay. You push through the red curtain partition that's in the middle of this breakfast/practice area, and this is where the beasts are kept when they are not on show out front. Much like outside for the pre-performance attractions, there's 3 separate cages for each of the animals, though these are much larger and a lot less decorated, kept for practicality and not flashy to attract an audience. Rosie the owlbear and Diva the saber-toothed tiger currently sat in their respective cages, while Tallulah, the dark-skinned dwarf girl with the big bushy sideburns, is currently exercising the ram with the starlight fleece, running around a pen with him. She smiles and waves as you enter, does one more lap with the ram before vaulting over the edge of the pen to greet you. Behind her, you notice a quick flash of movement from a little tent set up in the corner, which must be where she stays, just to make sure everything's alright with the animals. And the little golden-winged monkey soars up into the air, flies forward, and just lands to perch on her shoulder. It's like, hey again!
Hi. We have come with questions, I'm afraid, on business.
Alright, I'll see if I can help you with anything. What exactly do you want to ask?
Well, first things first, we were told that one of your animals was sick not that long ago.
Rosie got sick about a week ago. She was sick for a couple days and she threw up and it's really gross, but I went through just to make sure there wasn't anything weird and I found some little berries and I figured, well, maybe that was what was making her sick. They seemed like maybe they were a little bit poisonous and got me kind of worried that maybe somebody did it on purpose, but nobody's owned up to anything yet, and when I try to ask people, they don't seem to know what I'm talking about.
Can you describe the berries?
They were just like little purpley things with a red center.
Do any of us know what that is?
You can roll a nature check.
Do you mind if I talk with Diva again?
Sure thing, yeah. Funny trick.
11.
You wouldn't know exactly what kind of berry it was, but what she's describing sounds like something you may have heard of that is probably poisonous.
So I'm going to cast Speak with Animals on myself once more. 10 minutes. And just, hello again, Tink.
Hi!
Did you see anything weird with...
What kind of weird?
Like, who would have fed the berries?
I go where Tallulah goes.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ask Diva then.
Okay.
Bramble will fly up and be like, small friend.
Oh, Tink is delighted. They can have a little air ballet together.
Oh God, that's so cute.
Just a little monkey and a little fairy dragon just enjoying each other's company for a while.
And then I'll go over towards Diva's cage.
Tink is gonna follow you because she's enjoying the fact that she can have conversation with someone.
Hello again, Diva.
Hello.
Do you mind if I approach?
May I smell you?
Oh, of course. Offer my hand to the...
Big, wet tiger nose presses against the bars. Gives your hand a lick. You're welcome.
Thank you. Now, Rosie here got sick last week. Do you know, did anyone come in and feed or anything?
The grey one.
The grey one?
Long ears.
Oh!
Felix the Virgo.
Did he say anything when he came in, or...?
The plot chickens.
The plot chickens.
He seemed happy with himself. And he fed her. And the next day she was sick. We don't like him anymore.
I could imagine not.
He's one of the bad ones.
Who else is one of the bad ones?
Smelly man. Smells like rot. Meat gone bad. Mockers.
Is he the new one, or is the one that disappeared?
She kind of tilts her head, like she's not sure what you mean.
There was a stagehand that smells bad. He disappeared a few days ago, and then somebody else came that smelled bad. Who's stood outside now?
She sort of continues to look a bit quizzical. Stage hand?
People that help out. I'm new to this thing.
She doesn't seem to understand what you mean. You get the impression that perhaps the
She doesn't
stagehands
know.
don't really come round here.
Yeah, that's fair.
They don't really deal with the big tiger and the owlbear.
Okay. Well, don't worry, we're not gonna let the bad ones come near you.
Not the one that sings.
The one that sings. What did he do?
Overly familiar. Got too close. She growls and bares her teeth.
The plot chickens.
Sabretooth knows all.
I'm getting more out of this tiger than anyone else.
And have you seen anything floating around that shouldn't be here? Like, that moves in and through things as though they weren't there.
She tilts her head again, kind of gives a sniff, looks at the monkey.
I think Tink just goes where Tink goes.
Ask her.
Oh. How about you, Tink?
What?
I'll describe like what Vanden described as jellyfish. Like a spectral thing going in and out and...
Little ears droop and the eyes get really wide.
No! Put my hands out.
She comes and lands down and like holds onto your fingers.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to upset you, but when did you see this?
Maybe... last night?
What happened?
It just... over the top of everything. And then it was gone. But it looked bad.
We're trying to find it.
Okay.
If you see it ever again, just let me know.
I'll come find you.
Okay, that sounds good. But I promise you're going to be safe. I'm going to look after you lot.
Monkey friend.
Thank you. Monkey. Sort of fluffs herself back up.
I suppose in the meantime, while we're questioning Tallulah, ask her the general basic questions, her relationship with Florence.
Whether she's noticed anything weird going on.
I mean, I'm usually kind of busy over here. The animals aren't bad, but it's really hard to get them to trust you.
Astra with his hand through the bars like, ah!
She's facing away. Let's say she's facing away from this so she doesn't feel completely stupid.
This scene!
It's hard to get the animals to trust you getting licked by the tiger.
Rosie and Tink kind of stick with me, and Diva's Ramon's favourite, but everyone else, they're kind of used to the people who've been here the longest, but then like Milo, Felix, Marcus, they're not really fond of them, and Florence was never really interested in coming around here anyway. I think some people find 8 foot tall owlbear kind of off-putting.
And is there anyone here that you don't particularly get along with? Or have you noticed not getting along with someone else?
I mean, it's not hard to miss that Kian and Lukash have been at each other's throats as of late. The twins think that Ramona's a bit weird. They feel like... They've always said that her crypticness is off-putting, but they're still young.
And what about the stagehand who disappeared and the new guard?
I don't really interact with the stagehands that much. They don't tend to come around here. I don't know, it's not so much my business. They kind of have their own little set of tents out back. But we pick up people all the time and sometimes they just leave. But it's weird to leave without saying anything. Marcus, he's probably out front right now with Nelson and keeping perimeter and all that. These guys, they don't like him, but he did just show up like 2 days ago. Then again, I tend to think they're pretty good judges of character. Sorry, I don't really
No, it's
know
fine.
that much more.
It's fine. Have you... No, I'm not on the jellyfish
Not on the
yet.
jellyfish yet.
We spoke to Kian, who noted that Lukash has been through a little bit of a personality change recently. Have you noticed anything?
Those two have certainly been a bit more aggro with each other as of late, but I couldn't tell you if that's something that's going on between them or if it's a personality shift. I have noticed that he is, every time we stop in a town, he's always got a lady friend around, and that used to be a lot less common of a thing.
Okay. I think that's all the questions we have now, except...
Cassian kind of rolls his eyes like, have you seen a strange jellyfish-like creature?
Vanden will give the description.
I mean, I'll take care of animals, but I ain't never seen an animal like that.
I ain't that night.
I ain't like that.
That 2025.
60.
You're still on a clueless hunt with this. These people just don't know.
It's worth asking.
Sure is, Chief.
I will give like a little scritchies to the tiger if she allows me to.
She lets you, and Rosie the owlbear sees you giving scritches and sort of...
Put my hand out for Rosie to have sniffs.
She brings her beak close. You've got these two big, wide, orange owl eyes fixed on you, and she sort of, like, not bites, but kind of nibbles at your hand with the hook of the beak.
I'll give scritchies to Rosie.
You find this weird kind of patch where the bear fur sort of meets the owl feather, and all of the feathers around the face sort of floof up. She just kind of enjoys it for a little bit. Tallulah turns around and is like, "What in the Nan Hills? How are you doing that?"
Oh, they're so lovely, aren't they?
He's good with animals.
Right, sure thing. Most people would lose an arm trying to do something like that.
I think she got jealous of being given Diva scritches here.
Well, either way they're gonna get jealous. The Diva's named Diva for a reason.
We've got some information.
Oh, good.
Yes. Well, Tink saw the thing that you saw.
The jellyfish thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the monkey of all people saw the jellyfish thing.
Yes.
Animals are very perceptive.
They are. They see things that we don't see because, well, they're more observant sometimes.
Right.
So Tink saw it going through last night and
And what about the poison berries?
looks towards Tallulah and he's just like, I do have information on that.
So it's like, well, who's poisoning my owlbear?
Well, I don't know if it was on purpose, but we will find out about it. But apparently it was just...
We should talk about this first, just in case it wasn't. I don't want to start any tensions here at the carnival
Yes.
that aren't necessary.
Alright, but
We will let you know eventually.
if it's on purpose,
We will definitely let you know.
please let me smack him.
Oh, we will. But Diva told me all about it, don't worry.
Kind of looks over at the tiger and is like, good girl.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
Take the conversation away
Yeah.
from Tallulah. Outside, just like, who?
So?
Okay, so Diva told me that Felix brought the berries in and looked quite proud of himself to do it.
The footbook.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's just so happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to be here.
And Diva told me that they're the bad ones that they don't like, and Felix is now one of them, as well as... And I will recount, like, what Diva's been telling me.
It was...
Milo.
Was...
And a bad smelling one.
Milo was too familiar,
Mm-hmm.
and then she growled, and that Marcus had a bad smell, smelled like rot.
Mm-hmm.
Meat gone bad.
Too familiar? With Diva? Or with someone else?
I'd assume it was Diva because the way that she growled and like made it look like she bit. So maybe she's bitten him.
Maybe.
Okay. So many people to speak
So
to.
many people to speak to.
I don't know where to turn to next, but the suspicion grows on Marcus.
Perhaps we should go out front and see if he's patrolling and question him.
If he is suspicious, is he going to tell us anything? Would it be better to watch him and see if he does anything?
Good point.
Certainly is. I could always surface level thoughts too.
Well, also, apparently Nelson hired him, so
we could talk to
might be
Nelson.
more forthcoming with information.
We could speak to Nelson, who will be somewhere near the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps Bramble could go take a look at Marcus. Subtly.
Sure. You'd be happy to do that, wouldn't you? Come on.
Bramble is having a great time with Tink.
I don't think it's me he needs to be worried about losing here.
I mean, can't you just summon him back to you?
Yes, but he's having fun, isn't he?
I suppose.
Okay.
So, we're heading to the front then.
Might as well.
You make your way back through the partition, back into the practice area where more or less everyone's cleared out now. It's just Maya and Pyrrha. They're now sat on the balancing beam with their legs sort of kicking and just chatting away with each other. They kind of give you a cheeky wave as you walk past.
Give a wave back.
Give a smug smile. We know your secret.
Like very confused by the smug smile, but Pyrrha is absolutely giving some like dreamy eyes in Sariel's direction. Sariel pretends not to see it. You go back through the backstage passage. The easiest way to get through the front, you know, would just be to walk through the main area of the tent. And as you do, you see on the stage practicing with their little setup of various furniture, with sans the mimic for practice time. Milo and Felix, who are just sort of practicing their gestures and shocked expressions and having a little conversation about, like, should they spice the act up or anything like that.
Should we speak to them?
I think we need to be up front.
Probably just worth getting it out the way.
Go ahead, Astra.
Just gonna step up onto the stage. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi, we've still got some questions for you, if that's okay.
Alright. Felix kind of looks at Milo and Milo kind of shrugs really nonchalantly. He's like, is there anything else then? Find anything weird?
Well, I just wanted to know, what did you know about... Yeah, did you hear the animals got sick, yes?
Yeah, really nasty business that.
Yeah, why did you give them the berries?
Sorry, what?
The berries that you gave to Rosie, that made Rosie sick.
This lanky furbug man looks incredibly embarrassed, and Milo laughs, like, into his hand, and as he does, you notice that his right hand is, like, bandaged up.
Oh, and that's probably where Diva bit you. Because you're a bit overly familiar.
I like this, Astra.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
Oh, when Diva bit you on the hand.
This was a knife accident.
No, it wasn't.
Well, how do you know? What do you... And Felix is like, Milo, these people are here to question us and investigate things.
If you've got nothing to hide regarding the Florence situation, you might as well just tell us this and clear your names.
I found them in the woods when we were staying near the chase, and I thought they would make a nice treat, and they didn't. And I felt really bad, and I know how Tallulah gets when people get overly familiar with the animals. And I didn't want her to beat me up, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to get smacked around the head.
Inside check.
Roll an insight check.
15.
24.
He's being very forthcoming. He feels bad about this, but he just didn't want to get in trouble and didn't know how to say that he'd done this.
You should probably own up to it before we tell her. She'll take it better coming from your mouth.
Okay. You're right. He kind of shrugs in on himself and is like, I'll go talk to her after we've wrapped up here.
Yeah, make amends. And you?
I just wanted to see if I could pet her. She's always so friendly with Tallulah and Ramen. I was just sort of hanging around. She was sleeping. I reached over to touch through the cage and she just turned around and bit my hand.
Well, I mean, you did wake a sleeping animal. It's surprised.
Inside check. Seems weak.
22.
21.
He's maybe being not so forthcoming with what he was doing to quite anger the tiger, but he's not hiding the fact that he was.
He's just an idiot.
He's just an arrogant idiot.
Did he pull the tail? I can understand.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yes.
And you were just embarrassed about it?
Well, same as him, I didn't want Tallulah to get pissed off with me. I don't want to cause arguments here. People around here don't like me enough as it is.
Why is that?
Some of them figure that if I came from somewhere as nasty as Fang, that I must be pretty nasty myself. And that's bullshit.
It is bullshit. I know good people from Fang.
Yeah. There's a few of them out there, but the rest of them don't take too kindly to us, do they?
No.
I think a lot of what people think of you comes down to how you treat them.
Well, they don't try and make an effort with me, so why should I make an effort with them?
So that they'll make an effort with you. Someone has to start it. Well, that's on you, and it's nothing to do with Florence. So, if there's anything you can tell us about Florence or that situation, please just do so. Otherwise, we'll leave you to it.
Felix is slightly more forthcoming. Honestly, I wish I knew more. I told you most of what I know earlier, and I really can't think of anything else. Sorry, mine was like, I stay out of most of these kinds of things. Sure, we hung out a few times. We're both a bit quiet. She seemed nice enough, but she's never told me anything weird. Never seen anyone acting weird around her. Seemed like she was running from something, and that's about it. Try not to pry.
Okay. Final question then. Have you ever not trusted or found anything strange about Nelson?
He handles the money of this place. He's basically the reason we stay in business and work as we do. I can only imagine the kind of trust that goes into that between the four of them what run this place. If they trust him, I figure he's probably trustworthy, but...
And the carnival's been doing fine for money and everything?
I mean, we don't exactly make boatloads, but we get by. We get enough to feed ourselves and house more people if we need to.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he was in some sort of position of power and this was a long con, but the guy's so bloody nervous.
Why is he nervous?
He's friendly enough when he's talking to customers, but he's just a bit of a skittish one the rest of the time. Bit of a pushover, really.
Right,
Pushover. Good to know.
Thank you.
Then finally,
Oh no.
have you seen this jellyfish?
Felix is still as confused as the last time you asked him about this, and Milo is equally confused.
21. Doesn't know.
Doesn't know.
Cool.
So the only person that'd seen it was Tink, so...
Right. We should speak to Nelson. Thank you for your time.
Make sure you keep that wound clean. Wouldn't want it to go nasty.
I'm taking good care of it, thank you.
And go make amends with Tallulah. You don't want the tigers still mistrusting you.
Felix kind of elbows Milo and is like, maybe if we go together? Make it easier? And I was like, yeah, alright.
We'll keep heading out of the tent. Vanden's a bit like, all these people and their drama.
Cassian's quite excited by it all. He's just been listening like, I feel like I'm at the theatre.
The drama.
Oh, the drama.
No, it
Feels like being back in Militail.
it's hard to solve a mystery when everyone's got stupid secrets.
Yes, and not information on the things that you want them to have information on. But hopefully this accountant will have something worthwhile, or at least your little prize.
Don't! Just speed up a little out of the tent.
Look how desperate he is to get to it.
Once that starts so bad, that's
Going so quickly.
He's our little sparkling star.
I can still hear you.
Good!
Fear the day that Cassian and Astra gang up on you.
Oh no.
When they're done bullying each other.
I'll go and find Nelson.
You head outside, and it's pretty much, you come outside, you remember the mimic raffle is on the one side, the ticket booth is on the next. As you do, you see Nelson is down at the far end of the ticket booth, like, not quite out of earshot, but you can't quite hear the conversation. He is leaning back with his mouth and nose covered by his hand, as Marcus is just leaning bent over the front, pointing at him. Like, you can't quite make out what he's saying because he's saying it in a bit of a gritted tooth whisper. But you can definitely make out that it's threatening.
I'll hold a hand up to like slow and quiet the others as you guys catch up. And try and stealth a little closer to listen in.
Make a stealth check.
Oh god.
Ooh! 19!
11.
16.
Natural 1.
Oh! Cassian falls into some shit.
Luckily, with the three of you sort of going first, you do catch a bit. mainly the gist you catch is Marcus like, I'm going to go sit in my caravan for the rest of the day. I don't feel very well, Nelson. You can take care of the front right. Nelson's like, through his hands. Marcus is like, yeah, that's what I thought. See you later. And just begins marching off around the side of the tent.
Can we smell Marcus?
He smells bad.
But like body odor bad, or is there something else to it?
It's the way that the tiger described it was quite well. It's like meat gone bad. It could just be that like he has a very rancid body odor. It could be something else.
I've smelled people like that at convention.
I was the funkiest consent you've smelled.
No!
That kind of smell.
Oh god, sus!
Guy who goes to a 5-day convention and doesn't shower all weekend.
They give you soap in the hotel for free!
But he begins marching around just as Cassian sort of like trips on a twig and falls into you and is like, sorry. Nelson snaps his head round and sort of, oh, it's just you guys.
You okay?
Yeah, that was unpleasant to say the least, but...
Gonna lean into Astra and just quietly say, can you send Bramble off to Stinky McKee?
Stinky McKee.
Stinker sweet. Bramble, you know what to do. Bramble would just flutter off.
Make a perception check for Bramble.
Company.
Hey, Bramble. Hey, baby.
Perception is +3. What's the Bramble dice? There it is. Ah, get back! Yeet! Oh, poor Bramble baby. 9.
Okay. Bramble trails around and not long after Marcus can see him just kind of walking the wide circle round the tent, probably heading out towards the back somewhere. You did hear him say that he was going to go spend the rest of the day in his caravan, so he's probably just headed out to the back.
Okay.
So Bramble can follow for a while, but all he'll see is Marcus go to... at the caravans at the back, there's horses on the left. 3 caravans dotted, 2 more slightly to the side. Marcus is the one at the far right back.
Okay. Bramble will take note of that and then return.
Yeah, cool. Nelson's just like...
I heard a little of that. It sounded like he was threatening you.
Kinda. He said earlier that he wasn't feeling very well, and I asked could he just stay out because I don't really have anyone else on perimeter check with me today. I'm big, but I'm not a tough guy. I can't really help if someone tries to walk in here unannounced.
Is that the first time he's acted like this?
He's a bit of a grouch, I gotta say. Yes. Strange one.
Where did you find him?
Oh, usually if we need a bit of extra security around here, when we get into town, I just head in, look around for mercenaries, bodyguards, anyone offering that kind of work. I interviewed about 5 different guys when we got here. And Marcus there, he had a really good track record, had guarded some other events like this before, and he seemed like a pretty decent guy.
Did he seem different to how he is now?
Well, it's hard to say. He was quiet, and he was a man of very few words, but I haven't seen him smile since I hired him.
And he smiled when you first spoke to him?
Seemed happy to have the job.
Did he smell that bad to begin with?
I mean, Farrelstadt smells pretty bad sometimes, but Cassian has a little good as well. But like seawater and seagull leavings.
Not rotten meat.
That's what it smells like. Rancid.
He talked to you like he was your superior and not the other way around. What's that about?
Yeah. He sort of scratches his head, looks a bit embarrassed with himself. I'm not one for confrontation. People start talking to me like that, I'm just gonna back down.
Yeah, but you're the boss, not him.
Well, I mean, I'm not the boss around here, but
You're in
it's
charge of
Ramon's
him,
job.
you hired him.
on behalf of the carnival, I'm not in charge of anything except for the money and this kind of stuff. And oh, speaking of which, he
Reaches round under the counter and
says, Bernard de la Mare, winner of the raffle last night. There you go.
Absolutely delighted. I'm just going to pocket it without looking at it and without looking at Astra or Cassian.
Cassian gives you a little wink.
Astra just nods back like, good.
Someone else mentioned to us that one of the stagehands disappeared not that long ago, and also had a similar funk to them.
I suppose now that you mention it, there was kind of a bad smell around here before, but we got animals and stuff. Sometimes you don't really notice it.
I'm sure. How long before Farrelstad did that last stagehand disappear?
Maybe a couple of days.
Were you already here in the area?
No, I think it was hard to keep track. I think it was maybe 1 or 2 nights before we got here.
Okay.
And no idea why they left.
Didn't say goodbye to anyone as far as I've heard. Usually Bryn's in charge of that sort of thing.
None of the other stagehands know anything about why they went.
No, as far as they're concerned, just left without a word.
Okay. Have you noticed anything else regarding what's going on with Florence or otherwise?
I'm afraid you've probably heard this from a few of us around here before. I'm usually quite busy. When we're set up like this, I'm almost always out front. I mean, she seemed nice enough, private, but friendly.
Okay. That's okay. If you think of anything, just let us know.
Sure.
And if you hear from Marcus again today, or anything else comes back to you regarding how he's acting, let us know about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, sure. It's just, I know it makes some of the others a bit uncomfortable, but figured that was just the Farrelstad kind of way.
It can be.
Also
Suddenly.
with Lukash, have you noticed anything weird with him recently?
Oh, he sometimes guards out front with me, like it was before he got Marcus in.
Has his personality changed to you at all? Got a bit gruffer, a bit meaner?
He kind of nods his head a little bit, like,
Meaner's probably the word for it. Usually at the end of the night when we gather up his takings from the test of strength, he just kind of puts it down and moves on with stuff. Recently he's been a bit boastful about how much he's got, how strong he's getting. It's like, okay, well, we all know what your job is here. There's no reason to be so boastful about it.
Probably a good thing you put him in his place then.
That was you. Impressive. Very few people get past him.
Right.
Bringing people back, apparently that's not a usual thing with him.
I mean, he's been known to have a few lady friends around when we stop off, but not like every other night.
And that's what's been recently.
Yeah, pretty much whenever we've stopped off in a town. Past month or so, maybe.
On a personal level, I'm like, good for him.
Okay. I guess we have one last question. Last night, I will describe the damn jellyfish.
yet again, baffled. Roll your insight check.
16.
21.
This man has been very forthcoming with information. You have no reason to distrust the fact that he's like, what in the nine hells?
Please don't tell anyone what we've talked about.
Everyone signs an NDA. The party moves on.
As we walk away, did Bramble get anything?
Well, he's come back. He could probably lead us to where the guy went.
I don't know whether we want to engage right away or...
I don't think that sounds wise considering the tone he was using that you said.
I can send something with Bramble. So there's 2 of them watching out.
2 of them.
2 of them. I suppose if we just had a familiar, it doesn't have to be 2, but just keeping an eye.
I'm sure Bramble can do that, can't you, buddy? So I'm sure I can talk to him because he's language draconic.
Yeah.
I speak draconic.
He's a familiar anyway, you can communicate.
Oh,
Like
okay.
telepathically with familiars.
Yeah, he can tell you, like, down to the detail what he sees.
Oh, okay.
He will relay to you the fact that he saw which caravan he saw Marcus going to.
Astra.
Describe it in great detail.
He described in great detail.
A bright red caravan with a tiger painted on the side of it.
In the far back, so he can telepathically back to Bramble, just like, you stay there and keep a watch out, let me know if he moves. Okay, he's gonna keep a watch.
Great.
If you want to send a friend out, you can.
Don't have to. You don't.
Then where to?
Maybe we should go speak to the big boss of this, the ringleader.
And perhaps if we walk around to the back, we might see the quartermaster or someone like that.
Maybe.
Bump into someone else.
Let's just go through them.
So many people to talk to.
We'll just take a wander looking for anyone we haven't spoken to.
Yeah. If you cut wide around the outside of the tent, as you're going, you will see Nether coming from the other direction, looking rather puzzled and sort of lost in thought, but walking quite purposefully back towards the front.
Nether!
Looks over at you. Roll an insight check.
Oh!
17.
16.
Dirty 20.
11.
I say everyone except Astra notices the briefest flicker in his eyes of like not quite recognizing who we are
Ooh.
before he nods and comes over and is like, "Hey, is everything okay?"
Of course. Just wondering where you were off to.
Oh, I'm worried. I've just been around the back to see Ramona. I haven't seen her all day, and her caravan's been turned over.
Is that right? We should probably go and speak to her.
We should.
I was just gonna check if Nelson had seen her going out the front at any time, but if I find anything out, I'll let you all know.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll go check her out now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
See you. He begins his brisk walk back to the front.
The second he's out of
Yeah.
earshot, I don't think that wasn't fair.
What?
No, that was...
Something in his eyes, he didn't recognise us.
I can send something after him.
Go.
I'll conjure a cat familiar.
Mhm.
Go, follow him.
It follows after him. He pretty much does exactly what he said. He goes up, asks Nelson if Nelson's seen anything. Nelson kind of scratches his head and mentions that, yeah, he did remember seeing Ramona go out the front earlier, but she hasn't come back since. He kind of nods, turns away, pulls up the hood of his cloak and starts walking towards the city.
I will get the cat to follow him.
Okay. You will, like, lose
Yeah.
connection with the cat.
Yeah, but I'll get it to sort of follow him and see what he does, or if he
How?
meets anyone.
Report back if anything's
Report back.
strange.
Yeah.
Cool. So, are you just letting this cat go for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I've got it for 3 hours, so.
We should go check out Ramona's
Yes.
caravan. We'll hurry that way.
You hurry out to the back, and just looking at the array of caravans, you come past your tent. You can pretty much tell whose must be whose based on how they're decorated. You go past what you assume is Semele's because it has a big fire pit for cooking outside of it. You go past what you recognised last night's as Bryn's with all the bright colours and fabrics. And then you come right next to the area where all the horses are kept. Ramona's caravan. Her caravan is painted a rich blue with gold accents and depictions of the night sky, the halos all over it. A loose white curtain hangs in front of the doorway in its parked position, but getting closer you can see that the door has been broken off its hinges. Going inside, it is trashed in here. Whilst still colourful and beautifully ornate, what was once an eclectic setup with method to its madness is now strewn about the place. Wall hangings torn to the ground, shelves of books knocked over, one of the rounded windows smashed. You can see she had a little area with like a safe space to boil a kettle. That's fallen as well, and its contents have just spilled all over a rug on the floor, gone cold.
And she's not here.
She's nowhere to be seen.
I'll say to the others, Nelson said that she left and hasn't come back. Okay.
Did you hear around what time she left?
This morning at some point?
We should just take a look delicately to see if there's anything here that...
Anything strange? If this was some sort of attack or...
Or someone looking for something?
Exactly.
Amongst her staff.
Everybody, make an investigation check.
10.
18.
16.
Cassian is easily able to determine just by looking at the way that the door has fallen. He sort of tilts his head and is like, the latch is out. It looks like someone got locked in and pushed their way out.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what that means, but at least it's something. Vanden, looking around, you see a bunch of books on a shelf. Some on divination, some on the house. There's various storybooks of folk tales from different regions of Caldera. One about legends from the Shaste, others ghost stories from around the Eisenstark region. Generally, all of us are able to figure out the glass, the window that's been smashed, was smashed from the inside. We can find shards on the outside in the grass.
Like someone was trying to get out.
Like someone was trying to get out.
Is the window big enough for someone to have gotten out of, or no?
Not someone large, but someone
Of Ramona's stature or smaller?
Someone of around Ramona's stature, like slightly more petite.
How big is Nether?
Nether is slightly shorter than Ramona. Ramona, I'd say, is on the higher end of 5 foot. Nether's a little bit shorter.
And a contortionist?
Well, yeah, he's very flexible. Sorry, who got what have you
I
two?
got 18.
16.
16. Astra, you find one of the bowls from breakfast smashed, like it's been thrown against the wall, and like a little bit of the egg and potatoes kind of staining all the way down, like someone just tossed it. Sariel, you find a little desk space that's been a bit messed up, and you're sort of peering over it, seeing if anything's awry. Down the side, just kind of knocked off, there's a book on folklore, but when you pull it out and open it up, some of the pages have been torn out.
Okay. There's somebody's breakfast here. It's been thrown to the wall. It's like maybe... I don't know.
Someone's been locked in here and broken out.
But they've been brought food.
There's a book here that's had some pages ripped out.
Is it like a book of folk tales? Is it like one individual story's been ripped out, or something within a story has been ripped out?
It looks like one individual story's been ripped out. Like there's a bunch of different stories, and then it just jumps from one place to another.
Okay.
It looks like one story might have just been pulled out.
Is there a contents page?
Not that you can find.
Okay.
So, the whole short story has just been ripped out.
Okay. Shame we can't speak to Ramona and ask about this, because I want to jump to the conclusion it's connected, but who could possibly have been locked in here?
Didn't Nether say to us something along the lines that Ramona was the one who asked for us to come here? She knew who we were.
Yes.
Do you think maybe she was targeted for that?
By whatever personal creature is involved here. Maybe. Do you think Ramona was locked in here? But then why would she break out and go to town?
To get away from what's happening.
And why was the window smashed?
And why would she not say anything to anyone if she was locked up?
Why would she not come find us if we were brought here to help? So maybe somebody else was locked up.
You
If
said
she went to
Fair
town.
didn't recognise us.
The fair didn't recognise us.
So maybe he was kept here and looked after? To keep him safe from... I don't know.
What happened to Nefer after speaking to Nelson?
He just left, went out the front.
After Ramona, maybe.
Maybe, or maybe elsewhere. The cat's still following him.
We should find out if he's here.
Okay.
See if anyone has seen him not leaving. And knows anything about this.
Whose caravans are like next to this one?
You have the ones that you've obviously identified as Bryn and Semele's. You can see the one that Marcus went into. There's one that judging by the colour patterning on it, you figure must be Nelson's. It looks a bit more like a sort of merchant's wagon than the other caravans. One at the far back that, judging by its bright red and golden motif, probably Lukash's.
It's probably Felix's.
And then a big tent off to the side of like fine red that looks like a sort of luxury glamping sort of tent more than any of the others that might be Ramin's.
Okay. Or maybe if this was overnight or this morning, then someone might have heard it, but everyone was at breakfast. Was everyone at breakfast apart from Ramona?
I think so.
Ramona and Marcus.
But somebody must have brought food out here to whoever was shut in the caravan.
Well, Cassian sort of points over at the fire pit. Maybe she just grabbed food off the tray when it was going past. Maybe she just stayed to have breakfast in her room.
Is there signs in here, looking again and now thinking someone must have been kept in here, of a struggle of any kind, like, or is someone tearing stuff off bookshelves looking for maybe this folklore book?
It's hard to tell considering it's such a small space, but it looks more like some sort of struggle as opposed to one person.
Okay, so
The thing is as well, if both the window and the door have been blown out, then maybe it's not somebody breaking one and the other, it's someone that's used a spell.
Maybe.
possibly.
Is there any more sort of damage that you might expect from a spell, like around the walls? Say if it was like a thunder wave or a shatter or something.
Make an Arcana check.
And alternatively, is there something that looks like it could have been used to smash the window, or is there blood on the glass?
I love having proficiency in Arcana and always rolling piss for it. 6.
You can't get any sort of magical vibe from here.
God damn it.
The glass outside, I'll say that you might find a couple of drops of blood.
So there's blood on the glass. It seems likely that somebody has smashed it with a fist.
That could be through anger rather than escape. There's so much. Let's do what you said and see if we can find an affair.
The real one.
Find the real one and maybe speak to Ramin. I mean, no one else has mentioned anything about this at all, so I don't think anyone's going to have seen anything.
No. Ramin's probably our best bet then.
Is there any way in telling like how recently this all happened? Like,
If breakfast was there, then.
or if there's
Like-
anything spilled, like if it's still dripping or...
No, the stuff that's spilled, it looks like it was a hot beverage. It's gone cold. The breakfast that's there is unfinished and cold. So the best you can assume is that, this happened while Ramona or someone was having breakfast in here.
You say unfinished. It's just, it has, weird question, some of it has been eaten.
Yes.
Looks like someone was interrupted then. Like, this wasn't someone being held captive and brought food and throwing a tantrum.
Okay.
If she was having breakfast and then somebody came
Somebody turned
And
up.
she threw the bowl to perhaps...
protect herself.
And everybody was present in the tent at breakfast apart from Marcus and Ramona.
But if this was hours ago, how come no one said anything or
Everyone's been busy working.
But this is a main line of tents where all the people's belongings are. You'd think someone would have seen it before now.
People have been practicing and they keep saying that they're busy with all sorts of work. And we can't forget as well that before we settled down and had breakfast, a bunch of people left.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's look out for an affair on the way, find Ramin.
It's sort of getting to later in the afternoon now. You notice that as you're coming back in through the main tents, people are starting to gather props that they need, start getting changed into costumes to get ready to go out the front for like the pre-show attractions.
As we pass through, just casually and try not to raise any alarm, just ask people, have you seen the fair? Have you seen Ramona?
The general answer you get from everyone is that no one's seen Ramona today. And the last anyone saw in the fair, he said that he was looking for Ramona.
Okay.
That tracks.
Yeah. Let's find Ramin.
As you are looking for Ramin, Bryn actually shows up. And it's just like, oh, there you are. We're getting close to time for the performances and everything to start.
Ramin just wanted to check with you in his office if you found anything interesting today.
We really should speak to him.
Great, we were looking for him anyway.
Glad to know that you've found something good then. I'll just take you through. I think he's having a meeting right now, but he should be done any minute.
Okay.
As we're heading to Ramin's tent with Bryn, ask him,
Has Florence said anything today, or has there been any change?
Simelli's sort of been around that end every now and then, and just the normal babbling, really.
Does Ramona often take breakfast alone?
Oh, yeah. Usually when we get breakfast made up, she either pops in and says hello to everyone, or just takes it when Simelli's on her way into the main tent. She tends to sit and read in the mornings. She's not the most social of the bunch. Likes to keep to herself.
Right. Her caravan's been overturned.
Oh. When? What?
We
Looks
assumed
like
this morning.
some point during breakfast her food was unfinished. But we should speak to Ramin about this.
Right, okay. Well, I'll keep an eye out for her, see if she shows up to work. People should be turning up soon. Okay. He leads you around to the little tent that's got Ramin's office. And you peer in. Currently, Ramin and Lukash are both leaning over his desk, looking at a route that's been laid out on the map. Lukash sort of points over a few lines and is like, "See, I took the liberty of drawing this up earlier, boss. So we start moving towards Erin, we stop at the towns in between, see if we gather more acts on the journey." Ramins goes, "It sounds like a fine idea, my friend. We can stop up at Liaise first then. You're dismissed." Lukash nods, sees you all, gives you a sort of big toothy Leonin grin, walks outside. Ramin sighs, walks around to the other side of his desk and is like, "Whew. Busy day for you all then?"
Unfortunately.
Very.
Oh,
I will get straight to it. Someone has overturned Ramona's caravan.
well shit.
Nelson said that she was seen heading into town at some point in the morning. It looks like there was a struggle.
And she hasn't been back since.
I mean, I've not seen her all day. God, that's... You said sometime this morning.
It looks like it was possibly during breakfast. Her food was half finished.
She normally sits out there. I mean, you can keep an eye out for her. I hope if she's not too hurt, she turns up for work tonight. But if she's not at her tent, then I don't really know what we can do.
I would be more concerned about who it is amongst your ranks that has been fighting with her. The place was completely torn apart. Windows smashed, door smashed off.
Things torn out of books.
It's his head in his hands. I mean, at least that confirms the theory that someone is hiding amongst everyone. As much as I hate to admit it. You got any ideas?
We have our suspicions about your new hire, Marcus.
Okay.
He was threatening Nelson earlier.
What was he saying?
Along the lines of that he was intending on spending the rest of the day in his caravan and Nelson could do the rest of his work, but Nelson pointed out that he seems to have changed his demeanour quite significantly from when they first met.
Okay. I wasn't there when he interviewed the guy, but probably safe to be suspicious of someone new. Someone who's got a bad smell about him like that.
And from what we have gathered, apparently a similar smell to one of your now missing stagehands.
Yeah, Bryn was telling me about that one of them just went missing before we went into the city. I don't know, I think his name was like Tommy or something. Didn't really get to know him that well, but...
Well, by the look of things, we're looking for a shapeshifter of some kind.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's really reassuring to hear. Oh god, this is a lot more than I thought it would be.
I know it sounds terrifying, but the more information we have, the better chance we have of finding this thing and stopping them.
Well, I'm glad Ramona had the sense to hire you for it. You seem pretty capable.
Just sort of watching him and listening to him as he's talking, like, do I get any sort of sense that he's covering up anything, or like his like dismay is like disingenuine or anything like that?
Roll an insight check.
Ooh, 23.
There's something that he's not quite letting slip, but he is a very charismatic guy. He's probably, you figure, just trying to keep a good spirit up because he has to take care of so many people.
Unfortunately, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle yet.
That's okay. We got one more day in the city, but usually we spend another day packing up everything. I don't really want to move on without sorting this out, so
No.
if you don't mind staying a couple days.
Why are you changing your route?
What do you mean?
Apparently you're changing the route that the carnival usually takes after here.
Oh, me and Lukash were talking about it. We have this thing where we don't really go through Aaron because Lukash and his fighting pit days, he doesn't really want to run into any debt collectors or anything like that, and I'm sure Bryn's told you we kind of stole from our ex-employer and they tend to do that route up and down the East Coast. But Lukash and I have been talking about it, and it's been 8 years. We figure if there's any trouble back in Aaron, there's enough of us that we can handle it now. Be a nice change of scenery.
You were just discussing when we came in about going towards Aaron.
Yeah. Should be a nice trip.
That's so sus. That's so sus.
Right. Well, what would you like us to do from here?
I mean, the performance is about to start. If you want to watch the show, we got a place that you can sit, and then once everything's wrapped up, you can carry on having a little chat with people in the evening. If you're suspicious of Marcus, I can round him up and we can have a conversation with him.
That would probably be for the best.
I'm happy to sort that out for you.
Is Nether performing tonight?
Yeah, he's our penultimate act for this evening.
Sariel, has he returned from the city yet? If the show is just about to start?
Have I seen him coming back into the range? Has the cat turned back at all?
Yeah, you get the sense that the cat sort of returned into your range.
I think he's turned back towards the carnival, yes.
Okay. We should probably speak to Nether after the show then.
But yes, you're right, we should go watch the show and see if we can see anything whilst we're there.
And keep an eye out for Ramona.
Yeah. I think Evie and Felix will be sitting with you throughout most of the evening. You can always have a little chat with them if you haven't yet. But I need to get changed into my costume because I'm going on stage tonight.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We'll leave you to it.
I'll catch you afterwards to talk to Marcus and Nether.
Thank you for your time.
Just before we go. It's jellyfish time! I'll ask him about the damn jellyfish.
I will watch him very closely when he replies.
Now that you mention it, I think I saw something like that a while ago, but I just figured it was one of Bryn's illusions or something weird. Kind of kept it to myself because I didn't want to worry anyone if it was something bizarre, but I've been trying to keep tabs on any strange goings on around here.
How long ago?
A couple of nights, maybe? Just as we got into the city?
Around the same time your stage had disappeared?
Suppose so, yeah.
Is he telling the truth?
Well, an insight check.
Damn it!
16.
16.
16. I mean, he's certainly sure that those things happened around the same time, and he's pretty sure that it was a bit of a weird thing that he saw.
Seem like he's hiding anything.
A little bit of something.
If there's something you're not telling us, now would be a very good time to do so.
We were here to help after all. We can't do it without all the information you can give us.
We're doing our best to help you, and if it's regarding the carnival itself, we're not going to do anything with the information. We just want to help Florence.
I just want to help Florence as well. Listen, I'm recounting information as best as I can to you. Things are getting weird around here, and I've got a lot of people I gotta take care of.
Inside check.
Oh, inside check.
Piss! 6!
Yeah, he seems pretty forthright, and he does have a lot of responsibility.
This is our first time, this is our second time in this office.
Yeah.
Glancing around, has anything changed? So looking down at the desk at the
Make
plans,
perception
is
check.
anything strange? That is 21.
The only thing you particularly notice that's different is the map of Caldera yesterday didn't have this route drawn on it, and now it does. He kind of rolls his shoulders as he sees you snooping around and is like, well, we need to get ready for the show, so...
Of course. I'm sure we'll speak to you again later.
Yeah, I'll make sure to sort things out, don't worry about it.
Good luck.
Get you out there.
It will file out. I would like to check in with the cat.
Yeah? The cat finds you pretty easily, comes back and
Hello.
communicates a series of messages to you where it's mainly just Nether walking around the streets of Tharaldstadt in his hood, kind of keeping an eye out. He, at one point, sort of notices where the sun is in the sky and then started heading back towards the carnival.
He just walked around town for a while.
So maybe he really was looking for Ramona. I'm considering the possibility that maybe the affair that we met yesterday
Wasn't the real
wasn't
one?
the real one.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Impossible to tell.
Has Marcus left his caravan at all as well?
No, he's just been inside the entire time.
Look, we should wait and see if Ramona comes back as long as we can before the show, and then keep an eye on things in there.
So should we go wait near the front?
Yes, I suppose so. Or if we split up and keep an eye on everyone.
We can do that.
You go to start making your way around and Evie just comes beaming around the corner. She's like, hi,
Hello again.
hi, how did your day go? Oh, come with me, I'm supposed to show you to where you're sitting tonight.
Is the show starting that soon?
Well, we've got slightly less people out front because it's been a bit of a weird day for everyone with you asking so many questions. We're trying to wrap things up a little earlier this evening so that everyone can kind of decompress afterwards.
I'm sorry we've been disruptive.
No, it's completely fine, I understand. You're just trying to do a job.
Has anyone noticed Ramona come back yet?
I didn't notice she was missing. Was she missing?
Apparently she went to town this morning and hasn't returned.
Oh, I don't know, but, I can always ask someone.
That's okay. You've got a show to get ready for.
Yes, please, just carry on and do your jobs maybe.
No, you're supposed to come with me. I don't have an act until, like, the middle of the show tonight,
Okay.
so...
Right. Lead the way.
As the cat sort of winding its way around Sariel's legs, she'll descend out.
Go to Ramona's caravan.
Okay, and I guess we'll follow Evie because we're shepherded away from what we wanted to do.
She's, like, completely oblivious to the fact that you wanted to go do things.
Bramble and the Sariel cat share a look, just sort of like a...
On the go.
friends.
She brings you around to a little booth area that you saw last night, nice close to the front, but it's where the performers get to sit when they're watching the people. Felix is already sat there, kind of leaning against the bars a bit, and he gives you a sort of sheepish smile as you come in. And you're allowed to sit down, as the audience is already filing into the main tent.
This isn't the best use of our time.
Does anyone else feel tense?
A little bit, yes.
And Raman was definitely not telling us something.
No.
I don't know what in regard to, and there's so many secrets and so much nonsense going on here that it could be anything.
This is quite tricky.
Plus, if whatever this thing is can disguise itself, it can probably disguise itself as any of them back and forth.
Or us.
Oh, no, we don't like that.
Maybe we should stick together then. Keep eyes on each other.
I agree.
Or even just... if we tie something to our wrist or something underneath our sleeves so that no one else knows about it. we'd always be able to check that way.
Not a bad plan.
True.
Vanden's gonna get out some of his, like, I'm assuming Astra has his bag on his
Yeah.
with Richardson gets out his old hair ribbons that he still has in his stuff.
His old hair.
The ponytail he chopped off.
Gets out his old hair ribbons that he has no purpose for anymore and asks everyone to tie one under their sleeve.
No sleeves.
For Cassian, like on an ankle or something, somewhere hidden.
Oh, on a scandalous ankle. Yes.
Should we get split up?
Who can check these?
Whatever this personal thing is won't know that that's there.
Okay. You all sort of sit rather tensely. But the performance rolls around, and if you're excited, you can be excited. If you're still feeling tense, you can still feel tense.
I will keep checking in with the cat now and then.
The cat sort of feeds back to you that it doesn't seem like Ramona has come back to her booth outside at any point.
I'll get him to stay there.
Okay. Occasionally just notices a few people peering in and looking a bit disappointed, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
The performance rolls around, Ramin comes out, welcomes everyone to the show. More or less, you get a few of the same acts as you did last night, but it opens up with a few different ones. For the first, Tallulah waits in centre stage, dressed now in a loose white blouse, high-waisted black trousers, a simple costume for an energetic act. She sticks 2 fingers in her mouth and lets out a resounding whistle to make the room fall silent. Then, the sound of thundering paws from backstage tearing through as the curtains as the massive form of Rosie the Owlbear takes to the stage. Yes! She barrels towards Tallulah, who crouches in wait, shifting just far enough before the moment of impact to grab hold of the beast's flank and climb onto her back. The crowd gasps in excitement at this young woman riding on the back of this ferocious beast. And as it goes on, Tallulah shares some educational owlbear facts. She says that owlbears stand between 8 and 10 feet tall and can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. Christ. The origin of the owlbear is often debated, but a common theory is that wizards experimented to cross an owl and a bear, and it resulted in the creation of the beast. But some elves claim that they've always existed into the Feywild and simply migrated through to our world. Rosie is a very special case because she was dependent on Tallulah from quite a young age, but usually these creatures are aggressive in the wild and should not be bothered. All owlbears have this famous tenacity and stubbornness. Creatures larger than owlbears tend to avoid them in the wild, as owlbears will pretty much attack anything that it's on sight with an owl. However, they are smart beasts and have developed their own version of farming. They enjoy eating termites in the wild and don't want to wipe out the population, so they developed a method to control the wood termites get to increase the termite population so that they can eat them.
Genius.
And whatever you do, don't get them mixed up with bear owls.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
She does not elaborate on this point. The act comes to a close. Tallulah gets Rosie to stand up on her hind legs. She lets out a wild shriek from her wicked-looking beak. They take a bow together and make their exit. Following her, Milo sings the same song as the night before. But having met him properly now, you wonder how sincere these somber, sorrowful words are from someone who was just like, cool, great. After Milo is Lukash again, pretty much exactly the same act, but no less impressive to see him lifting all these things. Coming third, you see Ramin take centre stage, though now his chest and arms are exposed, his muscled orange body on display with its gentle ember-like glow. He smiles up to the crowd as Bryn announces him from the sidelines. My dear audience, you're in for a treat tonight. If you've ever wondered why exactly we call ourselves the Flaming Tiger Carnival, well, wonder no further. I have the highest honour of presenting to you the Flaming Tiger himself, our ringmaster, Mr. Ramin Zaray. The crowd goes wild. Ramin silently reaches out a hand to an assistant who passes him a long metal bar with 2 lantern-like structures at either end of it. The lights dim low and a hush comes over the audience as a drum beat starts to fill the air. With 2 elegant flicks of his wrist, both sides of the bar burst into flames as Ramin begins to spin the metal around, causing light to streak all around him. As the fires inside the strange instrument grow, Ramin's speed increases. Sparks begin to hail around him, puffs of flame swirling around his body in this massive tornado of fire. The audience oohs and ahs as he dances around the stage, a nimble shadow against flame that consumes him. It's spectacular. Though through the routine, he remains mostly untouched and unharmed by the fire, his Ganassi heritage doing him a favour in his choice of talent. The rain of embers spins higher and higher, the speed of the drums increasing as Ramin grows more bold in his movements, launching up another hail of sparks and basking in them. With one final spin, he throws the bar into the air, the fire spitting in all directions before he raises his arm to catch it, standing triumphant in the dying glow all around him. He douses the ends of the bar in a bucket of water and takes his bow, a hearty cheer from the audience.
Astra's tail is positively vibrating with excitement.
Gives Vanden a little bit of a pat after that. Alright.
I'm fine.
That was spectacular.
Still don't trust him.
No.
Oh, at least he has the flair for it. Ramin takes a break after his act, and Bryn continues to act as the MC. He announces Kia and Evie. It's basically a more tame version of their finale from last night, where instead of using this strange wheel of death, it's mostly just him throwing knives at targets. And then Ramin comes back out as the ringmaster once more to announce the penultimate act, which you know to be Nether.
Eyes on this.
Watching
very
closely.
You already know to crane your necks for his entrance. You look up and see his lithe body coiled inside the descending hoop once more. As his act begins though, it's not easy to miss having seen this performed just the night before. There's suddenly a lot less confidence in his movements. The strength and flexibility is there, but it's like he's second guessing where to place his limbs and not giving nearly as impressive a display as he did previously. He keeps fumbling through various movements rather clumsily, with no style or grace to the routine. Then, all at once, he seems to find this sense of resolve and twists a leg up to suspend himself in the centre of the hoop, and just misses. His foot slips past without finding a grip, and the crowd gasps as he trips backwards, luckily still with his hands fixed tight to the hoop. He begins to shift them outwards for a better angle to pull himself up, adjusting his position once, twice, and on the third time his grip fails him, and the silence around you is deafening. A spectator breaks out in a scream as he begins to fall rapidly to the ground. In a flash, the lights go out, and you can hear panicked murmurings from the performers and the sidelines before a finite, sickening crunch from the centre of the ring.
God!
The crowd screams. Everyone roll a perception check for me, please.
24.
Perception 21.
21. Everyone except Sariel, you notice, where you hear the body make the impact, there's suddenly this as this spectral, jellyfish-like shape is ejected from the body and floats all the way up into the ceiling and out. With your dark vision, you can make out movements of figures running to Nether's aid. Ramin's voice ringing out, wavering as he speaks. My dear audience, I'm afraid tonight's performance has been cut short. We'll be turning the lights back on in just a moment, and I ask that you file out in a calm manner for now, but remain seated for the moment. The lights come back on and people begin rushing out of the main tent in a panic. Most of the performers are now trying to guide people out in a more orderly fashion. The body has already been moved in the dark. All of a sudden, Evie comes rushing out from backstage. She left to go do her act, and she is freaking out. She's just like, you need to come with me right now.
Yes. We're coming. Straight to our feet, following. Yep.
She starts running out backstage with you. You see Nether's body being taken in one direction. She starts leading you in the other towards Florence. And as she runs with you, she speaks. I was backstage and I heard Florence scream. And then I came back out and Nether had fallen and she's freaking out. But she seems to be talking in common.
Okay.
We're coming now.
Yeah.
She grabs hold of Astra's hand and just starts running with you.
We leg
right
in
to
it.
the side.
We follow her.
Give her a little squeeze.
You rush through the backstage area, the panicked sound of the crowd behind you still roaring, but here it's eerily quiet. You see the back exit is still slightly parted and you can hear some noise from outside, assuming that more people have heard of the accident and are coming in now, perhaps just trying to get away from the chaos. Evie continues around the corner to where you know Florence's tent is, her hooves pounding fast against the ground. She does not let go of your hand. You fly through the curtain partition to the large side of the tent, and as you do, Evie skids to a halt and gasps in fear. Ahead of you stands Marcus Vetter, the bodyguard hired to keep watch for the carnival. He's just peeking into Florence's tent, from where you can hear some muffled sobbing, turns to face you as you walk into this space, and there is something very, very wrong about him. For one, the bad smell that he's carried in the air is now unbearable. A rotten stench of decayed flesh and death hangs heavy all around as he smiles widely at you. His teeth, too long, too sharp for his mouth, his skin greying and sagging. A patch of his cheek just slips off and falls to the floor, landing in a wet smack in front of him. He is completely unfazed. He stares at you with wide eyes and says, "It appears the jig is up. I wonder which one of you will have the most information. Be the best new body for me." His neck cracking at an unusual angle.
No. Vanden is going to draw his sword and ignite it and make for him.
You start running towards him, and he sort of slowly begins, like, circling around. As you're coming towards, more and more of the flesh falls off him, and suddenly you hear low growls around you and realise that you are not alone in this space. Evie bolts at this point. She is running out of here. You sort of skid to a halt, realising that there are more creatures here. And as you get closer and closer to Marcus, all of what made him look human sloughs away. Every angle of this frame has small spikes forming on craggy skin. This true form pale and gaunt with long claws stained in old blood. Two glowing yellow eyes staring right at you. Low growls filling the space. These horrible creatures prowling out of the shadows, 3 of them. A normal humanoid shape, but bent over on all fours like beasts, with blue-tinted skin, clawed hands and feet. They look at you, with lolling tongues and gormless eyes, fixed like predators on their prey. I would like you to roll initiative.
Yeah, baby! Come on. Okay.
Astra.
Beans.
Oh, sorry, I got 16.
16. Vanden.
4.
Sariel.
19.
Sariel, you're up first.
Okay. 3rd level moonbeam right on him,
Ooh.
drawing it down from the dark sky. He needs to make a con save.
20.
He makes it, but he will take half of 3d10s of radiant.
Nice.
Oh wow. No, 9, so 4.
It's still up.
Still
It is up now.
It is up now.
It is up now.
4.
Love that.
And that's your turn?
So you said there's other ones coming.
Yes, you can see now from around you, one is coming up behind you, and then one from either side. You're sort of being flanked on all 4 sides.
Okay. One each, I suppose.
Okay. Next up is Cassian. He is going to just, in absolute panic and confusion, throw up a spirit shroud of radiant damage because these things seem rotten. It's like, looks like undead to me. And he's going to, oh, can someone put a concentration ring on him, please?
Yep.
He's going to march over to the one closest to him. And he's going to roll an attack with his sword.
Get it, lad.
Yeah, he hits. Funny that, thought it wouldn't. So that does. Ooh. He does a hefty chunk of damage on this first ghoulish creature. And it's looking pretty rough already.
Yes.
As it sort of recoils from him, he's like, these ones aren't so tough.
Noted.
That's his turn. Next up is Astra.
Oh,
Oh, it's me. It's Astra.
Astra. I am going to use in a 40-foot cube.
Christ.
Which I believe is the map.
It's 8 squares.
So it's not quite, but it's
So it's like there to there, like, and there to.
So you can get
1,
two of
3,
them.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, so big guy. So for the big guy with the moonbeam on him, and one of them.
Do you want to go for the one that Cassian just hit? Or
Yeah, the one that
closest to you?
Cassian. The one that Cassian just hit.
Okay.
I'm going to cast slow.
Oh hell yeah!
What kind of save is that?
Wiz 14.
Wisdom. Or what is it?
So Astra will just pull his lute around and start playing, and a very slow and altered sort of tune.
Okay. The one on Cassian fails.
Okay.
Is that concentration for Astra?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no slow ring, but
It's further away.
Just put hex, I guess.
What was the save, sorry?
Wiz 14.
Okay, the other one beats it.
Ah, okay.
still good.
And what's the effects of slow?
So, this fellow, he takes a -2 penalty to his AC and Dex saving throws and can't use reactions.
Okay.
On its turn, it can either use an action or a bonus action, not both.
Okay.
And if the creature's ability or magic item, it can't make more than one melee or ranged attack during its turn. If it attempts to cast a spell with a casting time of 1 action, roll a d20. On 11 or higher, the spell doesn't take effect until the creature's next turn.
Okay.
And bonus action. Mantle of Inspiration. All of you are going to get 8 temporary hit points.
Oh, delicious. I haven't even lost any yet.
Yeah.
Nope, but he's not going to take any
bloody chances.
any bloody chances, and then
Okay.
Bramble enters the fray.
Astra pulls his lute around, casts this wonderful spell of slow, taking on one of the creatures but not the other, begins to inspire everyone with his beautiful music, and then the fairy dragon.
And then Bramble is going to cast invisibility on himself and try and Euphoria Breath. The moonbeamed one. So it needs to make, it's just a DC 11 with save.
Get on a square, please.
Succeeds.
Okay. Then he will hover around invisibly.
Okay, is that your turn?
Yes.
Okie dokie. The ghouls. The slowed one is already in Cassian's melee range, so it's just going to make a bite attack at him. It misses spectacularly.
Nice.
Just chomping around as he brings up his radiant sword to be like, not on my watch. The two that haven't been slowed or attacked yet, both come up to Vanden.
Okay. They flanking or?
They're not smart enough to flank,
Okay,
they're just
so-
both coming to the closest square in his melee range, so they don't have advantage on you, but they are both on you. They're each going to make a chompy chomp bite attack.
Okay.
You see closer again this horrible, obviously undead form, rotting flesh coming at you. One of them's a natural one, and one of them's only a 12.
Nice. Just deflect them both with my new sword.
Nice.
I'm going to riposte. When a creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction and expend a superiority dice to make an attack back.
Oh,
Do it.
okey, go for it.
Get him.
Let's take the one in front of me, why not? So
You're already facing that direction.
that's definitely going to hit. That is a 22.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So, holding new longsword in both hands. That's going to be a D10. Fancy new sword. Plus a D8 from the superiority dice.
Tasty, tasty. We love a big damage.
So, 10 points of damage.
10 points of damage.
Nice.
Nice. That was your reaction. That was the ghoul's turn. The creature takes damage from being
Moonbeam
big.
damage.
Okay. What's your save?
13.
Of what?
Con save, sorry.
Makes it.
Still off. A little bit better. 18, 23. Halved is 12.
11, 23.
Okay. Yeah, 11.
Okay. Reasonable chunk of damage. It understandably steps out of the moonbeam,
How dare you?
moves to the side.
What, there?
Actually, let's say it begins moving forwards. It sees that you've cast something on it and decides to come straight for you. And you see this form more closely now. It looks like maybe it was once an elf,
Oh god.
but is now something like unfathomably horrible. This thing looks mean and like it wants to eat you right now. It is going to take an attack with its claws. It's a natural 1.
Nice. Cool.
And then with its bite. It's called 22.
Yep.
You will take 14 points of piercing damage.
Ooh. Okay, 1 second. 14. Yep.
As its teeth sink into your shoulder, you feel all the things that make you Sariel, your tenacity, your ferocity, being mixed with the fragile nature. You feel that slip away from you ever so slightly. And your charisma score reduces by 2.
Don't let it bite you. Oh god. Cool. Oh god. Okay. Weird.
Yeah. And that's its turn. Vanden.
Vanden. Okay. These are quite clearly something horrible, an undead or fiendish or something. Vanden gets his wings out immediately. Sort of between the creatures trying to attack him, throws them out. Angel boy, I love
Angel
you.
boy!
And then he's going to action surge.
Tight.
Um,
What's about second action?
So he will risk the opportunity attacks to move around and flank this thing.
Uh, 12's not going to hit, but a dirty 20 will. You will take... You take 8 points of piercing damage as one of them bites into you.
Okay, that goes my temporary hit points.
Chomp.
Chomp.
Okay. Bonus action, Hunter's Mark. Onto the big nasty.
Nice.
I am also concentrating.
All the concentration rings are out today.
Everybody is concentrating right now.
And then I'm gonna make 2 attacks.
Go for it.
The first one is a 23.
That's going to hit.
That's at advantage, so see if you can
See if I crit. I did not. So a D10 for holding it in both my hands. A D6 for Hunter's Mark. And I'm gonna add precision attack for another D8 and 7 points of radiant damage. Okay, so that's 11, 12, 16, 23 points of damage with 7 of them radiant.
Oof. You take a reasonable chunk out of this thing's health. It turns to bare its horrible long teeth at you.
Cool, I'm attacking again.
Get it!
You're more than welcome.
At advantage.
At advantage.
Crit! Yeah, boy!
27.
Hell yeah.
I believe the radiant damage is
Once per turn.
once per turn. A shame. That's still 20 points of damage.
Nice.
And he will just snarl, "You leave her alone!"
It just snarls back at you. Whatever languages it was able to speak before, you can assume in its true form, it's just spitting at you in what you now recognize to be abyssal.
The fury continues as Vanden continues to not understand abyssal.
back to the top of the round. Sariel.
With Vanden flanking it, she's gonna extend her claws out and try and primal savagery, like rake her fingers across its chest at advantage. Please. Natural 20!
Whoa!
Yes! Cool. Oh my god, 2 d10s. Oh my god, 18, so 36 points of acid damage.
It goes down.
Just tears her claws across this thing and the acid sort of like bubbles in the wounds, festering it.
As it goes down, Vanden will just grin at Sariel as it sort of collapses between us. Good going.
She gives you a half smile, but it's like faltering.
Okay.
Do I get my charisma points back when it goes down?
Oh god.
Yep. It's Cassian again. He's still being accosted by this thing. It has -2 to its
Minus
AC.
2 AC right now, and -2 to any dex checks.
Here, we'll take another swing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. He does a big old hit. And he takes it down.
Nice.
We love to see it.
Nice.
That's what you get for just being rotten flesh. He's gonna make his way. I think he has enough movement to get to one of the ones that was previously flanking Vanden. That's just gonna rush through.
This one straight across, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna end his turn there.
Jumps over the festering corpse.
Oh, good job! Astra.
Centered between the two things, but like just so it's avoiding Cassian. Can both of them make a Dex 14 save for me, please?
Certainly can.
Astra like crouches low to the floor and continues playing a lower sort of tremor.
One's a 10, one's a 13.
Oh cool, so they both
Both
fail. So he's playing at this lowered like decibel that he usually would on his lute, and the earth underneath them starts to like shiver and shake as he casts earth tremor underneath
Oh my
them.
god!
Yes, buddy!
Sand tremor.
Guardian of the sand.
So they both fail. They both take 11 bludgeoning damage.
Nice. One of them looks like it's about to drop. The other one is looking pretty rough as well.
Is it the one in front of Cassian that looks like it's about to drop?
Yes. Cool.
Cool. And then Mantle of I will use a bardic inspiration point on my bonus action and give Vanden some inspiration.
Thank you. Is that D8?
Yes, it is.
Nice!
Tasty D8 of inspiration. Okay. Which is the 2 remaining ghouls go. One of them's going to go up to Sariel. The other one is already on Cassian, so might as well take a swing. The one on Sariel absolutely misses. The one on Cassian is going to hit. Does. Cassian loses his temporary hit points.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no! And 2 of his real hit points. Oh no. But seems relatively unfazed. And the one on Sariel absolutely whiffs.
Whiff!
Just going at you with these horrible undead teeth.
Just smacks it with her staff.
The creature is dead. So it's Vanden's turn.
Nice. And it's going to move to here.
Yeah.
He is going to move his hunter's mark onto this one.
Overkill.
Yeah.
Now flanking with Cassian.
Yeah.
He's going to drop his sword into one hand, take a swing.
Just like old times.
Yeah, that's over 20. So it's a D8.
You don't need to roll damage, but I know that you want to.
Do it.
Yeah. It's a D8 and a D8. Nice.
I want to know how much they kill it by.
14.
You basically bisect this thing.
Cool. And then,
Off he goes.
having flipped the longsword into one hand, pull out the javelin, and he's going to hurl it towards the other one.
Okay. Can you do that considering a longsword isn't a light weapon?
But I have 2 attacks. It's not 2 weapon fighting.
Okay, cool. And go for it.
Yeah. Pulls out the javelin, hurls it towards the other one.
Roll to attack.
Yeah.
We command wording.
He's command wording.
Oh my god.
That's 19.
Yeah.
So command word, and I might as well add the bardic inspiration to the damage. So d6 plus 4 more d6.
Oh my god!
See if we can't get this over with.
And just fuck this guy in particular. Oh my god.
Oh boy. 11, 16, 20 points of damage.
You have the floor.
Just screams out the command word, just throws the javelin right through its head and sort of knocks it flying back into the ground, javelin sticking into the earth.
Everything sort of settles around these horrible, decaying bodies are just left in the sand around you. The performers' tents, Ramin's office, Florence's tent.
Florence, we need to check on her.
You can still hear the faint sobbing from inside, and as you do, you hear the sound of footsteps rushing round the corner. Skidding through into the tent is Semele, the half-hobgoblin quartermaster. It's just like, Evie told me what was happening. Is everything alright? And she sees the body and is like, oh god.
We need to check on Florence. I'm just going to make my way towards the tent where Florence is.
Okay, I'm coming with you. She starts pushing through.
Vanden will stay back, his wings sort of drooping a little and just stay with Sariel.
Cassian comes over as well and sort of makes sure that she's steady on her feet.
Bring her towards the entrance of the tent so we can kind of listen in.
You make your way in, pushing through into this tent that you were only in the night before. And you see Florence, this pale-skinned human woman with short hair. She is hunched over in the bed, just sobbing into her hands. And she hears the sound of people going in. She looks up, not recognising any of you, but recognising Semele. It's like, oh god, Semele. And Semele's like, child, what's wrong? What's going on? She just goes, it's me. It's me. This is all happening because of me. Gods, what have I done? And that is where I think we'll end tonight.
No!
Sariel, come back to us. Little Miss -1 charisma.
Oh no!
Hey, at least you only lost 2. Worst things happen when you lose more.
Doesn't make me feel any better.
I know it won't, but
Thanks for DMing.
Thanks
for playing.
hope you enjoyed talking to all the circus people around in circles.
My god! That was a lot, my dude.
It's drama.
I really liked him.
I got rid of Featherfall this morning and I'm so angry at myself.
Oh boy!
Thank you for DMing.
Thank you for
Okay.
DMing.
Thank you for playing.
Thank
Thank
you
you all
so
for
much.
watching. I hope you're excited to tune in next week for the 3rd and final episode of the Carnival of the Damned, where perhaps this mystery will finally unravel itself.
And there's still no clowns.
And still no clowns. I cannot stress this enough.
And there will be no clowns. No clowns!
Only I am the clown. But until then, we are nyxrising. We love you so much. Bye.
Bye!
Oh no. A dragon.
Oh, the mystics are here.
Hello again, saplings. It's Astra. Thank you for joining us again tonight, and we hope to see you again next week for the final part of Carnival of the Damned. This week's episode is sponsored by Be So Lovely. Check out their RPG jewellery collection via the link in the description, and be sure to back their Kickstarter, launching soon. Don't forget you can support Live at the Party at patreon.com/nyxrising, or grab yourself some merch over on Teespring. Special thank yous, as always, to our executive producers, KTB, J. Russo, Emily Hogarth, Jameson M, Lissa, Katelyn Ferguson, Alexandra Johnson, Leah Moran, Mason Scott, Meghan Charles, Benedict Allen, and Adira A. Until next time, keep your heart strong, and we'll see you on Wednesday.